Hi, welcome back to the Inexperienced podcast. I hope you guys enjoyed this week's conversation. And if you do, you can check out more conversations on our Spotify, Amazon Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, or YouTube. You could also follow us on Instagram at _inexperience Twitter or X _inexperience TikTok inexperienced.pod. Facebook, Inexperienced Podcast, YouTube, Inexperienced Podcast, and LinkedIn, Inexperienced Podcast. Thank you for joining us for another episode. I look forward to your feedback. If you want to be a guest on a future episode, please reach out on our website at inexperiencedpodcast.com. You could also reach out to us via email at myinexperiencedpodcast@gmail.com. Look forward to hearing from you. Enjoy this episode. Hi, welcome back to the Inexperienced Podcast. Today I'm sitting down with my friend, Brenden, who you may know from his recent fling with stardom on the Major League Baseball's Instagram account.
Oh yeah, that was my
They
5 minutes of
asked
fame.
you a phenomenal question.
Oh yeah, that was
What'd they ask you?
Jeter or Lindor. What prime Jeter or prime Lindor? It's such like
No, prime is such a bad question because the whole body of work matters. Derek Jeter did it for so long, and that's why he was so good.
But it was the post that was circulating, like, oh, age 31, both at 8, which is such a dumb question. It's such a dumb question to ask.
Lindor's also not made an All-Star team game yet here in New York.
Yeah.
His numbers have gone down since being a Met.
Yeah.
He left the American League, and his numbers are suffering because of it.
I mean, he had that
He's
excellent...
a better player, well-rounded, but his hitting stats are not... Is he a better player, well-rounded, or is he just a National League shortstop?
Just a National League shortstop. But you gotta give him his flowers.
He had a great year last year.
He did have a great year last year. He started horrible. He really did turn it around.
He almost brought home the Mets' first MVP award.
That would have been... Yeah, but he was never winning that over Otani.
Now, they posted you on... They asked you that question, Lindor and Jeter, so they posted it for a reason. That means there was a Subway Series.
There was a Subway Series, yes. Go Yankees, go Yankees.
Fantastic Subway Series.
Oh, yeah, fantastic.
Because not only did we win 2 out of 3 on the field,
Mhm.
we're winning the game on the papers.
That's true,
Fun.
Yeah.
It's so much fun because Juan Soto scorned ESPN, so now they're opening the floodgates.
Yeah.
They have all of these stories, and like you agreed to do an interview.
Yeah, it's if you want to play ball, we can play ball too,
15 years in this media market. You can't do that.
It's going to be rough.
You can't do that, especially when you went from the Yankees to the Mets. People are going to ask you questions forever.
Oh, it's
forever.
Yeah.
Now there's a story coming out that the Red Sox were his 3rd team. That didn't need to come out.
Yeah. No.
That was unnecessary, but ESPN is mad.
Would you rather the Red Sox or the Mets?
No, I think the Red Sox.
For the Red Sox, it'd be more fun. It'd be more fun.
It would be more fun because you play him every couple weeks.
Yeah.
I'd rather you go to the Red Sox because then we have a chance to beat you down, and you can watch us.
Yeah.
It's fun because he's in the same city and he still gets to watch Daddy.
Yeah.
But being Yankees, Red Sox, no, it's just different. It's different.
Yeah.
I would respect it more.
It's like crosstown rivalry, but when you play each other 4 times a year, it's like...
Listen, the guy bounced around early in his career, and he had a chance to go be, potentially, the greatest player in a franchise's history.
Can you blame him?
Exactly. He could have done that or become number 12 on the Yankees all-time list. He's never going to be 1.
Yeah, no.
So you can't blame the guy for wanting to go make a legacy, but, man, do it in Toronto.
That's actually interesting. Do you think anyone could ever become number 1?
We're watching somebody.
You think Judge? People look back and say, all the history, though, it's so difficult.
Yeah, but if Judge wins an MVP award again this year, his 3rd, that's in this era.
It's in the conversation, but if he's got to get the ring.
He's got to get the ring. He's got to get rings. But we were talking about Trout being the best player of all time.
Yeah.
And that's fallen off. He's not the best player of all time.
That's fallen off, yeah.
But
age and injury doesn't really...
No, he's aging, the injuries, and...
Never in the playoffs.
He's going to be a Hall of Famer, but he's not the greatest of all time anymore. But if you're talking about being the greatest Yankee of all time, it's hard. It's hard because it's... Is it Ruth? Is it Gehrig? Is it DiMaggio? Is
it Mantle?
Is it Barrett? It could be so many people.
The list just goes on and on.
And that's what's great about the Yankees.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah.
Is it Babe Ruth? Probably, but
You know what's crazy? We didn't even say Jeter.
no, we didn't say
just talking
Jeter.
about
It's
him.
not.
Yeah.
Jeter's not the greatest Yankee of all time.
No.
He's a top 5 Yankee of all time.
Maybe the greatest modern.
Yeah, maybe. It depends.
Yeah, it depends.
Like, I don't know. We had some. I don't know. I really have to think about it. I can't just outright say Jeter's the best. Because I hated A-Rod, but some of A-Rod's years were incredible.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not an A-Rod fan.
Juice or no juice, there was still some special times.
He just hated Jeter. I can't support that. I'm a Jeter ride or die. Why would I let my boy down like that?
Yeah.
I'm glad they gave number 13 away.
Yeah.
Because A-Rod doesn't deserve to.
I don't think they would never retire.
Not after what he did. Not after his suspension and.
Because then
And he tried to buy the Mets. I wish he bought the Mets.
He's actually I think he was owner of the Timberwolves.
Timberwolves, yes, he is in the Western Conference final.
Imagine the Timberwolves just go on like a crazy dynasty, and he
With
gets
A-Rod?
retired in the NBA.
He makes the NBA Hall of Fame as an owner. He makes a Hall of Fame. Oh my! No, he'll make the MLB Hall of Fame when he's dead.
Yeah, when he's dead.
They kind of established that now with.
I hate that.
No. I like it. I think I like it.
You think? Yeah.
Yeah, because Pete Rose should have been alive to see himself go into the Hall of Fame. But the idea that he will make the Hall of Fame is better than no Hall of Fame at all. Shoeless Joe Jackson deserves to be in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah. Do you think he was in the scandal? That whole like.
He hit a home run. The only home run of the series.
Yeah. It's like.
He had. There's stats to back up the fact that he didn't do it. But if everyone else is doing it,
Yeah,
and you need one guy to not.
You're not the one yet.
Just like this week, they had the big beautiful bill that went to Congress. The budget bill. It's still not. They're still voting on it, but it had to go through committee. And in order to pass it through the committee, they knew they were iffy on the votes.
Yeah.
So you have one person vote no, so then they can call a revote because that's the winning side. I don't know the whole exact rules and how it works, but it's essentially the same thing.
Yeah.
I don't even know how we got there. My brain is so fried sometimes.
Hey, but it was still a good conversation.
It was a good segue, I think, into politics.
Should we tell them why we're here, though?
Yes, we should. Baseball's a good segue into why we're here.
Yeah.
Baseball is Memorial Day.
Is Memorial Day.
Is July 4th.
Look where we're sitting.
We're here on an American flag catch, but we're going to talk
Oh, yeah.
about our parks.
National,
state, local. I got a park on my corner. I'll talk about that if you'd like.
Oh,
It's the start of summer.
Yeah.
It's the start of summer, and people need things to do. And I think it's really good to raise awareness about our parks.
State, national level.
Started in 1916, August 25th, 1916, by President Woodrow Wilson. For 109 years, our parks have given people a place to go and enjoy the beauty of American what's the word? Landscape. Culture, landscape. Which we have one of the most beautiful, underrated countries in the world. We are Europe. Europe is beautiful because they have all of these great, beautiful countries.
Yeah.
We got it all.
We have it all.
We got it all.
We have it all.
You want a waterfall? We have the best side of Niagara Falls.
We do. We have
the best side. Like, come on. And we're soon to get the other side.
It's great. That's not even a national park.
Niagara? No, it's not. Because it's a state park.
It's a state park.
But
New York doesn't have any.
New York has no national parks.
Because they're all state.
Statue of Liberty is run by the National Parks Department, though.
Yeah, but it's not considered a.
No, it's part of the National Park Services, which unfortunately are seeing tremendous budget cuts.
Yeah.
And especially as someone who, I can be honest, I voted for Donald Trump. It's a little alarming to see that a 75% slash to the Parks Department is on the docket. It's like $1 billion slashing, and the National Park Services run like 19 different departments.
Yeah.
Which sprawls, across the nation, parks and rivers and trails and mountains, and they do plenty. And they want to slash it $1 billion. I know Utah's fighting that they want all of their parks. They want all of their land.
They want all the national parks to become state parks?
Yeah, they want I believe part of it is some religious aspect.
Yeah.
But they want their land back, and that's starting to open up the conversation about bringing things to a state or more of a state local level.
Mm-hmm.
I know that they had also previously there had been slashes since 2011. 2011 they started slashing staff, and in 2013 they saw an increase in park visitors.
Visitors, yeah.
Visitorship. They saw more people going to the parks, but staff kept decreasing until 2016. 2016, staff kind of started staying median.
Stagnant.
But now, stagnant, yeah. Now we're going to see a cut again. It's probably, if you look at the trends and how we do these things and when we cut them, 2011 was Barack Obama, a Democrat, who in 2008 saw a market collapse.
Yeah.
You have to find the money somewhere, unfortunately.
The money's got to come.
2020 was there was an economic collapse because of a pandemic. And that has kind of gone unresolved and unanswered. And we went through 4 years with a president that unfortunately was probably sick and did not know what was going on for a very long time. We can get into that a little bit more later on. And he didn't know what was going on, and things fell to the wayside. So this is drastic. $1 billion is drastic. However, Donald Trump is the first president to suggest we bring it down to a state local level.
Yeah.
Which is very good, and it's very, I think could be very good.
Because when you look at we could show the map in a bit.
We can pull up
the map. Because
screen share, which one? There it is.
There. Yeah, because when you look
at our parks,
you see so many states that don't have.
And this is just national parks. Give me my book.
This isn't even state parks.
We have there, and I'll make a graphic and I'll post
Alaska.
It somewhere.
Why, if it's under the state level, Alaska's getting all the profit. They're getting all the revenue. They don't got to share a piece of the pie.
No, but Alaska, the reason why they're mostly national parks is because they don't want you to drill.
Yeah, that is a big thing.
And that's a big thing with why we're stripping these national parks and the national title to a lot of these parks. It's mostly Alaska. Alaska is a big contributor to this. We need that oil. We're going to go get the oil.
Is Alaska, I don't know, I'm not really
Alaska's oil rich.
I know they're oil rich.
That's Barack Obama named all of these parks, although that says Denali. I believe it's Mount McKinley again.
I'm not really savvy on Alaskan politics, but I don't know. Are they pro start drilling? Or are they anti protect these lands? That's what I want. I don't know.
I haven't asked many Alaskans.
But if it's still a state park, they can still say no. This is protected land because the state park is protected land still. It is still protected.
They need to drill economically.
Yeah,
not all at once. Not like they did in the early 1910s, 1920s of this country when they were tearing apart Oklahoma and Texas. You can't do it that way. But there's a better way to do it. And to get oil, we're gonna drill.
You got it. Yeah,
we're gonna drill. And this is part of it.
Done in the city,
opening this stuff up is how we get there. But look at the disparity in national parks when you go east to west. It's like
it's the West Coast.
All of the flyover states for sports teams have national parks.
Yeah,
we have sports teams.
I feel like it's crazy that when you look at the mass of New York, Pennsylvania, you have the whole Pocono region in Pennsylvania. They don't have any parks there. Those are all state parks. And then you look at New York, you got the Adirondacks, Niagara Falls. Believe it or not,
and beaches. Our beaches are state parks. Oh my God, Jones Beach is a state park.
We can talk about Jones Beach later.
There's another beach down on Long Island.
Oh, we got another beach on Long Island.
Named after a person that you know a lot about.
You want me to say?
You can say his name.
Robert Moses.
You're big. I wouldn't say you're a Robert Moses fan. Not a Robert Moses fan, but a Robert Moses historian.
I would say Robert Moses historian. It's also interesting too when you a lot of people say when you talk. I'm a yapper. I will say I'm a yapper, and my friends are this information's so stupid. How do you know all this shit about Robert Moses? And it's when you think about it, though, it's still important to know how cities build their way up, how it goes down. Because when you think about it, you got states for example, Oklahoma. They're building up their landscape. They're building. Recently, they just got approved to make the largest skyscraper in the United States.
Where is this?
Oklahoma.
Really?
Yeah. So it's you got to see population's going to increase. People are going to start moving to smaller cities. How are these smaller cities going to adapt?
Weird. Oklahoma's one of those liberal conservative places now. It's they just legalized. You're allowed to claim food on your medical insurance.
Wow.
because food is medicine, and Oklahoma is one of those states that recognize it, which is is weird. It's a red state.
I actually have a really funny story about Oklahoma. So my friend, one of my good friends growing up, his name's Christian. His girlfriend Izzy was an air traffic control school in Oklahoma, and we got an Airbnb. We didn't really know
It's a
the
hot
area.
job right now.
Yeah.
Air traffic
Yeah.
control is a hot job.
So she's in so we go down to Oklahoma. We have an Airbnb. We don't really know the area. We don't really know so we walk down to the local main street. We're like, oh, what's going on in the local main street? It's very weird. We're getting we're driving down there. People are calling us the F word. We're like, why is everyone calling us? Like, what's going on? Like, everyone's calling
Which
us
F word? The F slur?
the F slur, the 3 letters.
The F slur, the 3-letter one, the one that means cigarette in other
Yeah,
countries.
the other one that means cigarette in the UK. We're like, what's going on here? Why is everyone like can they tell we're from New York? They hate people from New York? Which they do. I had many conversations with a few people from New York.
Oh, yeah, they hate us. Carolina, too.
Yeah, and so then we get down to the main street, and it's a pride parade. We're like, okay, we'll walk around and see what's an Oklahoma pride parade. Like, weird.
I can't imagine.
That's a weird statement.
It can't be a very welcoming pride parade.
There was like, they had this like dance school that was an abandoned gas station, but now a dance studio that still had the gas pumps. They were doing like a pride celebration on one side of the street.
Like, of course, there are people in Oklahoma that want to celebrate pride.
Yeah.
But that's not one of those places where New York and San Francisco, of course.
But then it's because it's like, and then you have one side of it celebrating the pride,
and then the other side is protesting.
It's protesting, and you're like, oh my god! And then you have like armed security guards there, because of course it's Oklahoma, and you're like, this is just like a keg about to explode.
Because
it was
Oklahoma's a weird, but Texas is like that too.
Yeah,
Austin is like that.
Yes.
Because Austin is super liberal, but that's kind of it. Also, Houston's liberal too.
Yeah.
But then Dallas is not really. Like, a lot of conservatives outside of Dallas.
Yeah, but it's like seeing stuff like that is interesting to see, though. It's like how
it's just weird how the country is changing, but even if you went back now, conservatism is different than it was 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Way more welcoming than it was 2 years ago. I think they realized through the election cycle that you need the young vote, and that young people don't give a shit.
Yeah.
I don't care. I don't care what you do at the end of the day. I don't care what you do, what you go home to. Pride parades don't bother me.
Yeah, no.
Are you gonna catch me, just going to one? Probably not.
Unless you
if I had a friend or a reason to go there and we're like, hey, come support me. Yeah, all right. I can get drunk. I can have a couple beers and go.
Yeah.
But it's not something I'm gonna go seek and do.
Oh yeah.
But like, I can't let people go to protest it. What's wrong with you?
Yeah, like that.
Let people live.
Yeah,
Who
that's
cares?
Like, people like too much time on your hands.
Way too much. People that do things out of hate and spite, I don't get it.
I know the Pride Parade in New York City is always like a Saturday. I don't know if it's the third, like same Saturday in June. I know it's in June. I think it might fall.
It might be. It might be the week after. It's usually sometimes
around.
on Matthew's birthday.
Yeah.
Usually it's the week after Father's Day.
And then you have people protesting. Like, dude, it's a Saturday in June, and you're protesting it. Go to the beach.
Exactly. Yeah, have a good time. There's a baseball game. The Yankees or the Mets are home. Go to the game.
It's a Saturday in June.
Do something. Also, man, you hanging out by the Stonewall Inn? Why are you in Chelsea? Maybe you're a little gay.
Still fighting it. Still fighting it 60 years later.
Going to the parade to see what's up. You're like, fuck, I hate it here.
Then,
like, fucking hate this sucks. Oh, it's so free.
Someone who was like, I am Catholic, but it's like, puts a bad light on Catholics. You're spewing these Bible verses. No one's listening.
And no one knows what they mean.
Nobody knows what they mean, and no one's listening.
They don't know what they mean. They take the Bible too literally.
Yeah.
Where the Bible's supposed to be taken in tandem, literally and figuratively.
Yeah.
There are stories as well as real lessons.
Yes, exactly.
And people don't understand that. Whatever. But the whole Catholicism thing about it is, you cannot force people to do something they don't want to do.
You'll never.
It's so much worse. It makes things worse. It creates a divide because then all of a sudden people are fighting and arguing and you have to pick a side. You have to go left or you have to go right.
You know, this reminds me of what you just said, the Family Guy clip, where they're hanging out and they're like, I hate you. I love you and I have no reason to hate you. I love you and I have no reason to hate you. And this guy comes like, yo, did you hear about this magic baby that was born? And they all start stabbing each other.
Yeah, that's basically it.
Have you ever seen that clip?
No, I have not.
It's a really funny clip. It's just like religion causes divide because there's
But it makes sense.
it makes sense. Like because there's some extremists and then
Well, because all of the fighting starts in the Middle East throughout time. It was either through the Bible or then through oil. So Middle East is just always a hot spot for this stuff. But it's
attention whore much?
what?
Police is a little attention whore much?
Yeah, they're really just maybe.
You don't get enough attention already? Come on.
And in a spice trade, they had a lot going for them.
You just love attention, man.
But yeah, you can't force people to do something. So you're not gonna force people, especially our grandparents' age, to accept something that they do not understand.
Oh, cause no.
So it's not gonna happen today or tomorrow. It's a conversation to have, but you cannot force it upon people that are not ready to accept it.
Yeah.
You have to start opening a conversation. You can't just. That's just not how things work.
No.
That's just not how things work. But we have to get better at conversation. But I'm starting to notice that I think our generation is on their phones a little less.
You think less?
Yeah, I'm noticing that when I'm out with people, they're not in their phones as much. If I'm at the bar, I think there's less phones out.
Yeah, the only time I see the phone out, it's like you're exchanging contact information, you're taking a photo,
which is better because I think right after quarantine, it was a lot of people didn't know how to separate at all.
Yeah. Oh,
even like myself included. I think recently I've learned to unplug, whether it be in church and it's an hour a day that I'm not on my phone, or I'm doing this and it's 2 hours where I'm not talking, and I'm learning to really appreciate the time where I'm not on my phone.
Yeah.
Which I think we're getting better at.
It's hard. It's hard to unplug.
It's hard, but
it's hard.
It just makes dating so much more difficult.
Yes, it does. Yes.
Because no one knows how. I'm not a good texter. I'm not made for it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm better at this.
Yeah. I feel like most people are. It's so hard to be.
But especially for us, for dudes, oh my god, when you're a girl, it's so much easier. Because you have your pick of the litter. No matter who you are.
Yeah.
For guys, it's not like that. At least not in my neck of the woods. But that's part of the social game and the social aspect. And people don't know how to socialize.
Yeah.
They don't know how to tell people their intentions or what they want or dislike. They just run away.
Yeah.
And that's what it's like when we deal with these issues, whether it be about religion and other things. I think that's why we're going back to it, because we're willing to talk about them again.
Yeah. It's a communication problem.
100%. It's all dwindles down to communication problems.
Yeah.
And I don't know, if we just talked, Francis started a good conversation. He did it very abruptly and very harshly.
What did he say?
Just about his take on family values and what a family is, and welcoming people into the church and doing things that people were like, whoa, we weren't ready for this.
Yeah.
Because people weren't ready for a new pope either.
Mm-hmm.
Benedict just stepped down. People weren't ready for a new pope. They weren't ready for a brand new thought process and ideology.
Yeah.
They weren't. And his idea to tell people that you could just practice whatever religion you'd like, and it's just the same, and at least you believe in something. No, I don't agree with that coming from the Pope. I can have that opinion. You can have that opinion.
Yeah, but
the Pope cannot.
That can't be something that's like in
the Pope cannot.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I mean, I just didn't agree with stuff that he did like that. But Leo is also, as much as I do like that we have an American Pope, he does a little bit, is going in the other direction a little harshly.
Yeah, it's... But it's like...
But he's trying to correct it. He's trying to correct...
Find the happy medium.
Yes, because people are returning to religion. Very, especially our age. And it's good to see, because you can't force someone into it. I could not be forced into church.
Oh, yeah, no.
But now I want to go.
Yeah.
And I was an altar boy, so I did enjoy it and I did appreciate it. But you can't force people into anything. And now I think we're realizing how important it is to believe in something again.
Yeah.
As a nation.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this goes back to where our grandparents were. Our grandparents were immigrants, and they grew up in the hard... My grandparents grew up in hard New York. They were immigrants, and a lot of immigrants got a very hard shaft, especially after or during the war.
Yeah, especially during,
especially here in New York, in the Bronx.
Yeah.
You could tell me a little bit about, what that was like for them.
Oh.
In the 1940s, right? It kind of started.
So with the Bronx, you want to talk about... So you want me to go into the Bronx Expressway?
I want you to go into the Bronx Expressway.
Okay.
The Cross Bronx.
The Cross
Bronx.
Which
I got into an accident.
Once. Oh, yeah.
Pete Alonso won the home run derby that night.
everyone. I can't say everyone has driven on the Cross Bronx. Cross Bronx, interesting, very, very interesting expressway. Built by Robert Moses, very big car enthusiast. His whole thing was that driving should be an enjoyable experience. And fun fact, Robert Moses never had a driver's license and never learned how to drive. And he was this big guy who was building all these parkways, building all
He
these.
knew where the money was.
He knew where the money was and the
Was
power.
was he a pal of Henry?
He just wanted power, man. That's all. I'm telling. Power is a powerful thing. It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, you couldn't be blind to what Henry Ford did.
Yeah.
You couldn't be blind to it. And listen, those cars had to go somewhere. You had to go somewhere.
Yeah.
And his idea of our motor system comes from Germany.
Yeah.
Which is, Germany in that time had a lot of innovations. As evil as they were innovators.
Yeah. So
and they created the highway systems that we are accustomed to.
Yes. So when we're talking about the Cross Bronx, it is one of the probably saddest histories. It's very like New York. The urbanization of New York is a very weird history. It's very weird because it happens very fast, happens very quick, and a lot of people get displaced. Because that's just it sucks. But
so who was the governor at this time? Is this like Al Smith?
Alfred Smith. Alfred Smith was more 1930s, 1940s.
So he was involved somewhat towards the end, at least.
Yeah. What's his name? Governor LaGuardia.
Okay.
Plays a big role in Robert Moses' storyline.
Catholic and a Guinea.
Catholic and a Guinea. Yeah, they didn't really get along.
No, they didn't.
They didn't really get along. But Robert Moses was a very powerful man. He had a lot of connections in Albany. Never held a elected office position.
No, but I would say most people in New York know his name.
Everyone knows his name in New York. I feel like if you were to walk around the streets of New York and you said, "Do you know who Robert Moses is?"
I know. I kind of know who he is. I don't know much about him. I know he was racist.
I feel it's more on Long Island.
But that's very and I calling him racist. He's a product of his time, probably.
Yeah, he's a product of his time. Yes.
It's racist to today's standards, but he's probably just a product of his time. But it's all I know about him. I don't even know. I don't know the real claims that there are towards that.
Long Island, it wasn't as destructive, but he destroyed the Bronx.
That's what I think. That's my disconnect with his story. I think because I see the things that he did on Long Island. I'm like, oh, he built a couple beaches. He built a couple parkways. It's not that bad. But what he did to the Bronx,
we'll talk about the Bronx, and then we'll talk about the Long Island. So then he builds the Cross Bronx Expressway, massive highway, destroys Bronx, uproots 40 to 60,000 Americans, mostly poor African minority-based communities. They don't really have anywhere to go. They can't really pack their bags and go anywhere. They're rich. They leave the Bronx. So then you're kind of left with these just run-down tenement housing situations. And you got these poor housing. You got housing with poor people. Landlords aren't really going to keep up with that. You think even landlords today, if you got like a poor housing, the landlord, even you see how many times
COVID landlords aren't kind.
Even today, how many times do you see freaking apartment complexes burned down over fires because things aren't up to code?
Oh, all the time. Fires in the middle of the night.
Yeah,
Constantly.
And that's kind of what happens to the Bronx. These people are displaced. They're living in these rundown houses.
And this is almost 90 years ago, almost 85 years ago.
85 years ago. And then the Cross Bronx built. And then when you look towards the 70s, everybody knows how bad New York City was in the 70s.
Yeah, New York was crime-ridden. The Trumps were buying buildings in the city.
Yeah. A lot of that, especially the Bronx, was really bad.
Times Square was bad. I can picture in your head. I can picture the subways with all the graffiti. And Times Square being a bunch of peep shows.
Mm-hmm. You gotta remember. We got the Guardian Angels with Curtis Sewa. We'll talk about that later.
So Gotham City.
It was Gotham City.
Gotham City.
And then you look towards very, very, very down the road, 20, 30 years after the Cross Bronx is built, you still have all these displaced people that are living in these very poor houses, and these buildings burn. The Bronx is burning is what is called, what was called, it was many series of fires.
And it wasn't well reported.
It was not well,
which is crazy.
When they're looking, it's just the Bronx. It's just so these buildings kind of just left to burn. They're just left to burn. They're just burning.
These are hardworking families who, okay, fine. Even if it was cheaper to live there because of the situation left after the 40s, but it was a start. It was a start for a lot of people. A lot of people, even their story today is in the Bronx. It continues to be in the Bronx, which is still suffering because of these things.
And then because like you can even look up photos from Bronx 1970s. You're just looking at like rubble, buildings, just rubble. It almost looks like a war zone. It looks like a war zone, and it actually looks like a war zone. And it's just all a trickle. And I mean, the Bronx is doing much better today, but there's still
they're building. I know they're building things up, and there's like yuppie buildings coming,
yes.
Like things potentially for us to move into that'll be affordable. But there's a stink on the Bronx. People don't like the Bronx because of what was set off in the 40s and continued in the 70s and continued through the 90s in New York City.
Think about this, though. Interesting fact. The Bronx has the highest asthma rates in the entire country because of the Cross Bronx.
It's got that much traffic.
It's got that much traffic. It's non-stop, 4 lanes, both sides.
And there's just people on top of people in the Bronx. There's so many people lived in the Bronx.
Yeah, it is.
It's like, and I can just picture, close my eyes, I'm just thinking about a hot summer day around Yankee Stadium and walking around like Jerome Avenue.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's just crowded, and there's a lot of people, and unfortunately they're on top of each other because they put a highway in the middle.
There's nowhere to go. You only can build up. You can't build.
No, you can't build out.
You gotta
and
build up.
that's the big problem, and that's problem of urbanization. We need rural areas.
But then
it's important to not have areas where people are living on top of each other. And I'm just learning the importance of that.
Yeah.
Like, I lived in Brooklyn my whole life, but I've been here for like 15 years almost. Being here for 2 years where I could not go anywhere has really opened my eyes to the whole, like, the city is important, and I think it's important to have a relationship with your cities.
Yeah.
But it is so much more important to have a relationship with nature and being, like, just be able to sit in grass.
Yeah.
Is like important. It's really important. You don't realize that growing up in a city your whole life. And I can't imagine what it's like living on top of a highway on top of it.
Oh yeah. And then like it's horrible. But then that's when this is why we got to build the parks. If I'm going to build a 4-lane highway, let me at least make it somewhere for people the people who can afford cars and have cars can drive to.
But, okay, so this is why he started the state parks, right? Because he was a big.
He started the state parks
in New York.
He started the state parks in like 1930.
Oh, so the parks were first.
Parks were first, and no, the parks were first. So the first park that he built was I hope I'm saying it right, Hertfordshire Park in out east Long Island.
Sounds right.
So
Long Island names
that was the first park.
You.
He's able to get some farmland. He sells a lot of farmland. He gets a lot of farmland from farmers. They sell this land. It was very easy for him to do that. That was the first park he's built. That's the park. So then, go along, we're in the 1929, 28 time frame. He wants to build Jones Beach. This Jones Beach is his prize and gem.
Could you imagine if he saw the theater today?
Oh God.
He has got no idea. Creed is coming.
Creed is coming.
He's got no idea. Oh, and Robert Moses.
Robert Moses, you have no idea what you see. But it was very interesting. If you ever have the chance, I would say like if there was a textbook for Robert Moses, it's The Power Broker by Robert Caro.
Well, it's pretty much a textbook.
It's 13, 12. I think it's like 1,200 pages long, almost creeping towards the 1,300 pages mark.
You got to get through it.
You got it, but
you got. No, I'm talking about you. You got to get through it cover to cover.
I haven't gotten it cover to cover yet. I have jumped around.
You're barely a Robert Moses fan.
I've wrote a report on the 1964 World's Fair, and then I wrote a report.
And he was a big part of the World's Fair.
He was the builder of it.
Tell me more about that. The World's Fair was.
We'll get to that,
Queens.
but I got to finish the whole Jones Beach.
All right, we got to talk about JB.
So Jones Beach almost didn't happen. Almost did not happen. So in this book, Robert Caro talks about how he's got to get approval from the townships of Babylon, Oyster Bay, and the town of Hempstead. He's got to get the approval. And they're saying,
is this how the private beaches came?
No. That happens later down the road. And they're like, no, we're not letting you build a highway. Why would we let you just build a highway and just like rip up farmland, like force these farmers to sell? And he's very, very smart builder after the way he does it. But that's the whole law we got to talk about. And I know the law, but I don't want to get into that because that I can go like on for that. So like, why would we ever let you build highways that lead to this beach? Like, why would we ever do that? So he kind of like strikes like a under the table handwritten agreement. Was like, why don't I just like tell you guys the path of the highways? And they're like, Now think about it. Why would a politician want to know where the exact route of where the highway is being built?
Why?
Think about it. Oh, so let me buy the land. Let me buy the land.
I see.
Let me buy the land where around the highway. I'll buy it before you start building the highway. I'll buy the land. And then you know what? Maybe I put some housing there. Oh, a gas station right by the exit sounds nice. I can sell that to a gas station owner in 2 years when the highway's being built. Very, very corrupt.
So it's almost like, buying shares in Build-A-Bear workshops when you know that they have a government contract coming.
Exact like Nancy Pelosi. Yeah. So he tells these politicians, this is where I'm building the northern state, the southern state.
You're not a fan of the southern state.
Oh no, that's Zach. He's not a fan of the southern state. So he tells these politicians where the paths of these highways, and they're like, "Oh yeah, Jones Beach is a go. Build a highway. Build it." And then, so he builds it in 1930. Massive success. Massive success. And then we have that. So the highway is built. Highways to the Jones Beach are built. But then you have you've driven on many. The Northern State, the Meadowbrook.
Yeah.
The Northern State. The clearance is what? They're like 7 feet, 8 feet, 9.
Yeah,
Not 7 feet, like
9, 11 usually. 9, 11, 10, 12.
You can't even...
10, 12. 10, 12 would be 11 feet. But 10, usually like something like that. Usually 9, 11, 12, 11, 11, 11, something like that.
Time, think of it like this. You cannot even put an NBA size regulation hoop.
Under one of these.
Under one of these.
Well, yeah, you can't drive a truck in them.
You can't drive.
Which is great, but there's still traffic.
There's still traffic. But it wasn't because of the traffic. It was because you didn't want public transportation getting to these beaches. You want it to be strictly for the people of Long Island.
That makes so. Oh my
god! But then he guised it under that driving should be like a leisure experience. Because then when you look at these overpasses, they're beautiful cobblestone arches. They're very nice.
They're very well built.
And they're beautiful.
And when you look at them, I think every time I drive on them, they're like, oh, they had no foresight. Like, they didn't think about what was to come and how big travel would be. Yeah. But no, it was on purpose.
It was everything he does is on purpose because he doesn't want certain people going to the parks that he's building.
Well, just like the school districts here.
Yeah.
The school districts here are built.
Redlining. Yeah.
They do the same thing. I don't know exactly Long Island politics to be able to talk about it too well in depth, at least not yet.
Yeah.
But I know that there are some schools that didn't want to bus in other people, so they closed down some schools.
Yeah. Or they
give off some land in their town because they rather not bus people in.
That's a big thing with like Massapequa.
I don't want to say.
I don't even want to get into it. I don't even want to get into it.
I knew that, but I didn't know that as well as I should have.
We don't get that is a whole. That's the story for a different day. But back to the World's Fair. That's what you wanted to talk about.
Yes, the World's Fair in Flushing, Queens.
Yes. Hosted the 1930 World's Fair as well.
Okay, but knowing what I know now about the Cross Bronx Expressway and what I know about being in Flushing, Queens.
Yeah. Robert Moore is actually a big reason for why the Mets play in that part of Queens.
Okay, so that was...
He's a massive part of the reason why the Mets play in Queens.
But is he part of the reason why that area is also deteriorating?
Yeah, yes. Yeah, I will. Yes, actually, yes.
So, as much as he did well for New York, at least in the 40s.
Yeah. But then, because when you look around Queens, what's around Citi Field? Just highways?
Highways and chop shops. You can't even get, like, a sandwich.
In Flushing Meadows Park. That's all there is. That's all there is. And the Grand Central Parkway.
I've never been to Flushing Meadows Park, although I want to go. I drove through it once.
Very beautiful park.
Which is crazy because I spent so much time in that area working there.
Yeah. Oh man, I wish we could have screen shared this earlier because I have a really, really cool fact about the World's Fair.
What do you need?
The Piet.
The Piet?
Yeah, it's in Rome or the Vatican City.
This is for you to search, my brother. So we're looking up the Piet in. You said where is it? It's in Italy.
Rome, yeah, Italy, Rome. Where is it?
The Piet images. You need to just look up Rome.
Probably in the Vatican, honestly.
Everything's in the Vatican. Images, and then you gotta go to screen share when you get it.
I can't even get unless I'm spelling the statue wrong.
Why? What does it look like?
It's a very famous statue.
I can't help you. I got no idea what you're talking about. The Piet.
But it's very interesting because
Just look up the Piet statue.
oh, there we go. There we
Is
go.
it the Vatican?
It's in the Vatican. Oh, where is it? We just added it. The AI gave it to us.
Oh no! Because you're spelling Vatican wrong.
Yeah, but it came up earlier. Hold on. Here, you go.
Yeah,
Go,
you keep talking.
Backspace twice.
You talk about the Piet. I'll get the picture up.
We don't have to talk about it just yet. I just wanted to have it up and ready. So we're talking about the World's Fair. Same park, 1930s, 1960s. 1960s was actually not even considered a official world. There we go. Gorgeous joke. You don't got to pull it up just yet.
Okay.
We got it. We got it up. So 64, not even considered an official World's Fair because the World's Fair Expo Committee. They had certain rules that a World's Fair cannot be in the same country in X amount of years. And Robert Moses says, "You know what? Fuck all of that. You know, I'm gonna make my own rules. We're gonna do it." And so he builds a World's Fair, and the only reason why he builds the World's Fair is because he wanted to name Flushing Meadows Park after himself. He wanted
and
this.
He still didn't get it.
And this was in the end of his career in the 60s. This was his. This is my crown jewel, my retirement, This is my Frank Sinatra my way moment. So he builds the fair. First year, absolute disaster. And disaster. So second.
But the second World's Fair was successful.
No, because the World's Fair was 2 years. That's also another thing why the World's Fair Expo did not allow it. Because the World's Fair can only run for a few months at a time. Robert Moses wanted to do 64 to 65. So he wanted to do, it was like spring of 64 into the spring of 65, and then summer of 60, like fall of 65 and like spring of 65.
This is like I went to the Expo.
Yeah.
It was in Milan, I think in 2015, and I was at that one.
Okay.
And so it's very similar to that. The Expo is very similar. It's a similar idea that it's just a current version.
So second year when they do a little brief pause, he's like, okay, I got to lock. Robert says, I have to lock in. I need to figure out how can I bring people to the World's Fair. And he kind of pulls some of the greatest. This is probably one of the greatest achievements, and very it's not really known that he did this. So we can pull up the image of the Michelangelo's famous
Piet now. We can do that now.
The Michelangelo's famous Piet.
All I know about the World's Fair essentially is that it was in Queens.
It was in Queens,
and that like hot dogs and microwaves and stuff come from the World's
because
Fair.
It was peace through understanding, and it was a very big. This is what the future is going to hold.
It's when we used to share innovation.
Share innovation, yes.
Which we're starting to again within tech, within AI and stuff. Innovation is being shared again. Thank God.
But the 1964 World's Fair really didn't do that. It was very much just a cash grab to get people in, make as much revenue as possible, and finish Flushing Meadows Park. You want to finish the park? I'll name it after myself, and then we're done.
And then so where does this come in? The Piet.
So the second year of the fair comes in. Robert Moses is able to get Michelangelo's Piet, the statue right here, to come to Queens.
Okay.
This statue has never once left the Vatican besides that time.
And he managed to get it to the World's Fair in Queens.
It is shipped.
Corona, Queens.
Yes. That is isn't that not interesting to know? That's a crazy, and it's the way it was shipped over. It was shipped in a wooden crate, but the wooden crate had water in it. So it would float. It would float, and it had a tracking device in case the ship sank, they'd be able to find it.
That's the same way the Mona Lisa travels.
Yes. But this is the only time that it's ever left the Vatican.
I know
and then
the Mona Lisa was here during JFK's presidency.
Yes.
I don't know if it's been here again.
And then if you go to Flushing Meadows Park today, there's like a little bench memorial, like a nice stone bench memorial saying, "This is where the Piet stood during the 1964
Oh, that's
World's
so
Fair.
cool.
That is one thing I need to go visit and go see.
Yeah, I want to go see that now too. I've been to the Vatican, so I've seen the Pieta.
I haven't been
I've
to the
seen
Vatican yet. That is something I need to do.
Oh, it's so cool. So when I went to the Vatican, I don't know if I told this story last week. I may have. No, I don't think I did. So when I went to the Vatican, we went like either 2015 or 2013. I went on 2 trips to Italy. I went on 3, but those 2 were mainland. And went to the Vatican, and you can't take pictures there.
Yeah.
You can't take pictures in the Sistine Chapel. Can't take pictures of a lot of things in the Vatican. You can't take pictures of the David in Florence either. But so I had broken my iPhone. Life-proof case broke on me during the summer.
Did the phone break as well?
Oh yeah, phone was gone. This was before I had left. As we were leaving for our trip to Italy, my phone gets delivered. So I'm setting it up in the airport. Got a brand new cell phone.
Yeah.
I'm a conniver, and I'm a little bit shifty. So every place that I was not allowed to take a picture in, I got beautiful pictures of everything. I got pictures of the David, the Sistine Chapel, clear as day. I got beautiful pictures that I should not have ever gotten.
Yeah.
I sent it to a couple of people who wanted them. So they have these pictures.
Yeah.
I get home, I go to plug in my phone. It sank back to my original iPhone. All my pictures are gone forever. Never saw them, never downloaded them. That was my punishment for taking pictures of things I shouldn't have.
It's funny how the world works. That is like...
But oh my God, these things are beautiful. These things are like, I would go 1,000,000 times if I could afford it.
Yeah.
It's like you can never get enough, and I'm certain that if every time you walk into the Vatican, you see something new. I can't imagine you have the same experience every time you're there. And that's the only way.
I gotta go. I have to go.
You have to go, and it's your duty as a Catholic because it's the only way the Vatican rather, makes money.
Yeah.
They don't make money any other way. It's the only source of income.
The smallest sovereign nation, right?
Yes, it is.
You know what'd be funny? I wonder, like, how does one achieve citizenship for the Vatican?
There's people that will live there. So the people that
I know there's people that live there, and it's such a small nation.
Even like the janitors, their families get to live there.
Yeah. I would love...
A girl went missing there like years ago.
Oh my
There's
God,
a Netflix documentary. I have to watch it.
Yeah, I've heard about it.
It's called Vatican Girl, I think.
Yeah.
Have to watch it.
Yeah.
I'm very interested in that.
You know what's great? Because, like, the Vatican's a sovereign nation, so that means they have to have a soccer team. Imagine you see the Vatican in the World Cup.
Oh, man. That would be awesome. World Baseball Classic.
The Vatican... Like... There has to be a way, because, like, the way, like, international sports work, someone who lives in America, has grown their whole life in America, but they have, like, a grandfather that lived in the grew up in Peru, so they play for the Peru national team.
The Pope is American now. You're telling me we can't get a court down in St. Peter's, square? You're telling me we can't get an NBA, exhibition game going?
A Vatican versus Team USA.
No. The Knicks versus the Timberwolves full-out Nova game.
You know what? Get it done. Pope Leo, if you're listening, you got to get it. That's what he wants.
I would say get a baseball game there, but no one deserves to have to watch the White Sox.
Yeah.
No one deserves that.
People would watch that and be like, there's no God.
No, but they'd have to play, if they did it, they'd have to play the Padres.
Yeah.
The Padres are a must for the Vatican MLB game.
Yeah.
Absolute necessity. Hockey, the Devils could never go. You couldn't let the Devils play there. That would be a bad omen. Couldn't play football. I don't know if there's enough room for that.
Yeah.
You need it to be topped off. Yes, sir, I got you. But I don't know. The Vatican's very interesting. It's very interesting, just the idea of it. I believe St. Peter, when he was crucified, they killed him outside of Rome. Because you can't kill a Roman in Rome.
Yep.
And there's just so much... You feel things there, especially even in this country. We'll give me 1 second. Let's finish this point, and then we'll. Even in this country, there's just places where you walk around and you feel how old it is.
Yeah.
You can feel the history. First of all, working in Madison Square Garden and being there overnight when no one in the building, you feel the ghosts.
The ghosts of the garden are real.
Everyone that's been there.
The ghosts of the garden are real.
It's real. It's real.
Yeah.
But you feel that when you're walking around Washington, D.C. You feel that in
Philly.
Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Yes. Down on Stone Street or the South Street Seaport, you feel the history there. Like Ben Franklin walked here.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, we did, it's called Mommy and Me, I think.
Okay.
Like when you're a little baby and you go
Yeah.
out with your mom and stuff.
Mhm.
And it was on 18th Avenue and like 83rd Street, a block away from the park. It was like this Protestant church. And I believe George Washington had spent a night there
Yeah, and it's just
during
like,
the Revolutionary War, and it's like still there in
Yeah.
Brooklyn and operational.
it's insane. Like,
and it's
history's a beautiful thing.
it's
beautiful.
crazy. It's
beautiful.
so cool. It's so cool. But we're gonna take a quick bathroom break, and
Yeah,
we will
yeah.
tap back in. All right, after a quick bathroom break, we are back. And before we had left,
Yeah,
we had talked about a little bit about the ghosts of Madison Square Garden.
they're real.
They are real, and I know. So that's a job. So that's something that we share.
Mhm.
We both work for the same security union.
Yeah.
So you kind of understand that a little bit, what it's like to be in an empty car. But you've still never seen it overnight, have you?
No, I haven't seen it over.
But you've still seen it empty and before the operation starts, and how special that is.
Before and after, yeah.
When you grow up a Rangers fan, especially,
Mm-hmm.
and being able to be in the underbelly of the stadium, that means so much to me.
Yeah.
As a music fan, like 21 Pilots, I was at their first show ever at the Garden. It was so special. I slept outside online for like 16 hours.
Really?
Yeah.
Just to get
man, just
want to be one of the first.
general admission. Yeah, I've done that 3 times for them.
Oh, because you wanted to be front row in the pit and everything.
Yeah, I've done it for real 3 times. The 4th time, I had a connection that helped me out a little bit because I was working.
Like,
but that was at a different arena.
When
Wasn't
you
at the
slept
Garden.
out there, though, I'm just interested to see, like, how can you be like, let me sleep outside in the street for that amount of time and then get ready to rave out in a concert?
The first time I did it was 2015 for the Blurry Face tour. That was Hammerstein Ballroom.
Yeah.
And I had gotten there like 6 in the morning.
Uh-huh.
And I got a pretty good spot, but they weren't that big yet. Like even Blurry, Stressed Out wasn't like popular yet.
Yeah.
And then the next tour was at the Garden, and we got there a little bit earlier.
Mm-hmm.
And I was there with my brother and my cousins. I had people there with me this time. And we were actually a little further back that time because they got more popular. And the next time we went, we were there a day and a half and slept outside Nassau Coliseum through a nor'easter with a tent that didn't have a top.
Wow.
Yeah. Thank God we had a hotel room and we were able to like go there to take showers and
Okay, so you have
get
the hotel
warm.
room, so you can, yeah.
But you can't really leave the line. Like, that's wrong. You can't do that.
Mm-hmm.
That was for Trench. Oh, the Bandito tour. Oh, man, they're so good. They're coming out with a new album.
Really?
Yeah, in September. They just announced it today. It's called Breach. I'm such a nerd.
Oh, I saw that. Yeah,
I'm
I saw you
such a
post that.
nerd for them. But, like, I like that stuff. I like being at live events, and it made it really special, the job that I did. And the last 2 years not being able to do that and go to live events and go to games is nearly as much as I was even paying for them. When I wasn't working, I was even paying to go to these things.
Yeah.
But I'm just reminiscing on the times that I did have and the memories that I did have from there, and it was really special.
Yeah.
And I'm sure now you've worked Nick playoff games this year.
No, not yet.
Not yet. You haven't been there yet.
Like, I would rather just watch it with my boys or at home, like, you know, like.
That's fair enough. And it's not your primary.
Yeah.
So that's fair.
It's not my primary income.
Yeah, I don't know. I just love being in the building.
No, being in the building, because then you get the energy. You get the energy.
Yeah.
Like the Big East tournament, that was sick.
So
that was sick.
Last week we talked a little bit about the energy of like Yankee Stadium and like wrestling crowds and stuff like that. And I always consider Madison Square Garden and Yankee Stadium sister venues.
Yeah,
because
in a sense,
same energy, same kind of like, this is our building and you're here and it means something. The name on the front of this building means something and we're going to defend it.
Mm-hmm.
In anything, in music. Oh man, I love it.
You know what comes with that?
It's just so special.
It's like, it's so special. And then everyone, like, opposing teams just want to like jump on that. They want to jump on that. They want to be like Darius Garland for the Cleveland Cavaliers. Cavs fans on Twitter gave him the nickname Madison Square Garland.
What about
like, it's just so corny. It's
Trae Young, who's been sitting at home for almost 2 months already.
Yeah.
He's out there saying things about how loud it is at the Garden. OKC, the lowest ticket to get in for their Eastern Conference Finals.
Yeah.
It was like $95.
Good for them, though. Good for them.
Yeah,
though.
great. At Madison Square Garden, it's like $645.
So you, in a sense, you do price out some of the real fans.
You are pricing out the real fans, 100%.
And that's something that never will be fixed.
It's hard to correct it. Now they're actually being very straightforward with fees and how much the tickets actually cost you.
Yeah.
Actually, that was Joe Biden. That was great that he did that.
Yeah, that was very
junk
big
fees
on
are
that.
starting to become minimal, but they are. It's too expensive. You put tickets on there for, even if I were to sell tickets for like $200, you can't buy them for $200. You have to buy them for more money because someone's got to make a dollar.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's crazy. It's hard for real fans to go to games now.
Yeah.
It's not what it was when we were growing up. I used to go to a lot of games and it was special, but now it's like a financial commitment.
Yeah. Yeah.
You like, especially wrestling. Wrestling is hard to go to an event. It is super expensive.
Never been to a wrestling event.
You have to go. You have to go. You have to, especially now that you're of drinking age.
Mm-hmm.
You have to go get hammered. You're never gonna root for John Cena because it's too expensive to go see him. He's on the way out.
Yeah.
But going to wrestling is so good, and especially when you're with people that want to have fun. We've done suites, we've done WrestleMania, just in the 8 of us.
Yeah.
I mean, you have a good time. It's fun. It's fun.
like it always the crowds always seem just like
the crowd is
it's just
great.
tomfoolery.
And it's
just
tomfoolery. I'm out there chanting for Chris Benoit to come back because I don't believe he's dead. I've never seen a body.
That is true.
I've never seen
can
a
we
body.
talk about that? Oh my God, yes, let's talk about that. Like you can even find those like the photos that they found in the house in like on Reddit. And they never show there's no bodies in the photos.
Well, yeah, they're not going to show the bodies on Reddit.
I mean, on Reddit you can get away with a lot on Reddit. You can get away with a lot.
I've deep dived a little bit on this. There's like another guy who could have done it. Kevin Sullivan was Chris Benoit's wife Nancy, her ex-husband.
Holy shit.
And I don't know. There's like the dogs were in the backyard, and it was odd for them to be there. The back door was like not locked, which was odd.
Yeah.
There was like a bunch of different things that were odd about that case, and
because it is a very
did
weird.
he do it? Probably.
Because it's a strange case. This guy just goes AWOL out of nowhere and just kills his whole family and then kills himself.
Yeah, but CT is real.
Was there?
Was
there
he had a pudding brain. Pudding brain. Yeah, one of his moves was a flying headbutt.
Oh my God.
Yeah. He had the brain of a 90-year-old. So it's definitely plausible that he did do it.
Yeah.
But there are other possibilities. There was never a trial.
Just imagine he was around for Twitter.
Oh man, Chris Benoit would have loved Twitter. No, he probably wouldn't have.
No, yeah, because he would be saying
his character was like cerebral, which is crazy too. He had like a cerebral character who was like quiet, and didn't do much on the mic. And then
but if he had CTE on Twitter, he'd be going crazy on Twitter. Imagine Antonio Brown, but Chris Benoit.
Yeah. Oh man, Antonio Brown is so good, and Le'Veon Bell is now getting on Twitter. He's going at Ryan Clark for some reason.
He started on I remember last year he was going after the Jets. Like he was just digging.
Yeah, Le'Veon Bell just randomly shows up on Twitter,
just digging at them.
I don't want to talk about the Jets. I hate that I'm living your reality right now as a Steelers fan.
What's the reality?
Aaron Rodgers has my franchise by the balls, it seems.
Yeah, that's weird.
They don't have a quarterback.
How do you not?
The Steelers don't have a quarterback.
What's the quarterback room situation looking like?
Oh man, Mason Rudolph might be the most qualified for the job.
Has he still been the backup since?
No. He was a Titan starter for a year, I think.
Since the Myles Garrett incident, he hasn't been there.
No. He
comes
only
back,
gone for 2 years, I think. Maybe.
He's like the sloppy X that comes back every.
Yeah, we had Mitch Trubisky, and then so maybe he was gone for 2 years.
Yeah, and then he came back. Okay,
but he can't be an NFL starter. And then we just drafted Will Howard, and he's not an NFL starter. But you know who Will Howard can learn from?
Aaron Rodgers.
And it's a real problem. It's a real problem. I'm glad that we didn't get Shedeur.
For a 5th round pick, though?
Not with the media circus that comes with it. Not for the Pittsburgh Steelers. But, again, okay, fine. I say that the Steelers don't do media circus. They're tied up with Aaron Rodgers right now.
Yeah.
He's a mess.
I mean, it's like a no-brainer for the Browns to draft Shedeur Sanders. You're already a laughing stock in the media. What's more worse than
but that's not the team that's going to develop a 5th round quarterback.
Yeah,
like that's not the team that's going to come out with a miracle, Tom Brady story.
Yeah, no.
not the Browns.
They got him for 4 years though.
Yeah, but okay, it doesn't matter. The Browns have had plenty of quarterbacks that they drafted in the top 5 picks.
And they don't even worry out.
Remember Brady Quinn? He was like number 22.
God.
Johnny Manziel. Yeah, no.
Deshaun Kaiser.
Oh my God. Thank God that I'm a Steelers fan and I get to like watch those guys over and over and over and over and over again.
Being a Jets fan really does put like a negative impression on football for me.
What's harder is you've never been the worst team. Like it's
We're
easy
always
to be
like-
the number 1 pick.
Yes.
Once in a while you look forward to it, but you've never been the worst team.
We'll draft like 7.
You're just
6,
always bottom
3.
Yeah, you're
4, 5.
Garrett-
Draft an O-lineman with the 5th pick. I'm like, great. It's like, oh wow, this guy's not athletic at all.
There's not much to look forward to as a New York Jets fan. And you should be excited this year. Justin Fields is good.
I
Justin
think
Fields is
it's a
gonna be
lot
a
of
good
money
player.
to commit to Justin Fields, but I think it's.
Did
Oh
they-
my god, I sound like such a.
How many
loser.
years did they sign him for? He's there for
I
multiple
think
years?
it's 2 years with a third year. Like, I know it's 30 million guaranteed, 40 million, another 10 not guaranteed. I think it's 2 years. So it's like, it could be fun.
Good chance.
I sound like such a loser. It's fun.
It could be fun, or you could be horrible and get Arch Manning.
Yeah.
Which is like where I'm at with the Steelers, I think. I could be awful for 2 years.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's like, it's interesting. You have Garrett Wilson. I still,
You have
we
Brees?
still,
You Brees
thing
Hall?
with Garrett, we have Brees. The thing with Garrett Wilson is, you still don't know how good is this guy. Because
He's not had a quarterback.
he had Zach Wilson, not a good quarterback. Garrett Wilson's making great plays. He's putting up good stats. All right, now he's got Aaron Rodgers. Devontae Adams comes in the mix, and it's the
A mess.
Rodgers Devontae Adams show,
Which is a mess.
which is not helping. Garrett Wilson's not getting anything. He's now the wide receiver 2, basically the wide receiver 3 because
And Lazard was there.
and Lazard was there. So it's yeah, exactly.
Lazard is out there, and I know the Steelers are going to go get him when they get Rodgers, and I know.
No, he's still a Jet. Lazard's still a
Is he
Jet.
still a Jet?
He's still
He's
a
out
Jet.
there.
No, he's still a Jet.
So I got poor information from somebody that told me Lazard was out there. I'm very out of touch
I
with
think
sports compared
was
to where
going-
I was.
He was. I think he could not. He could be a free agent. I'm not sure, but I think he did say he wants to stay on the Jets.
Alan Lazard?
I think he said he wanted to stay on the.
Alan is his first name?
Yeah, Alan Lazard. It's not Alan. We're just both being dumb.
No, it's got to be Alan. Yeah. There he is. Lazard. Contract.
I think he's still a Jet.
Oh my God, you guys signed him to a 4-year deal?
We gave him. Yeah.
Oh, he's
So we got another year after this. How old is he?
Yeah. Oh wow, he's got 2 years, doesn't he?
How old is he?
Yeah, he's got this year and next. He'll be 31
What's
at
his
the
age?
end. He's 30. He'll be 30 this season.
Okay, that's not horrible.
Yeah, but you committed 4 years to Alan Lazard.
That's the Jets. Jets gonna Jet.
Yeah, it's like Braylon Edwards. You had Plaxico after the Giants.
Funny. Remember what Rex Ryan did on the? Remember the Jets Giants Christmas Eve game?
When Victor Cruz had the 99-yard touchdown.
Yes, that was a great game though.
It was a great game.
Rex Ryan, absolute troll, made Plaxico Burress captain of that game.
Oh, he does that.
He did
he
that.
does
You know
that.
who he did that to
Yes,
too?
yes.
Ike
The
and
bully.
Polly.
The fight, right?
Yeah. So when it was Jets Bills, I think it was the Thursday night football game. It was the Thursday night football game. In the preseason, Ike and Polly punches Geno Smith, and Geno, the starting quarterback of the Jets, breaks his jaw in the locker room.
And he's the coach of that team.
Yeah, you can't make this up. The a third or fourth string Ike Polly breaks the jaw of the starting quarterback in late August and misses. Like he's out. I think he's out for like 4 to 6 weeks.
I remember I was working at McDonald's when I got that alert. It's one of those things where, like, you read certain things on your phone about sports, and you're like, haha, yeah, of course that's the Jets. Or you laugh, and you're like, yeah, that's the Mets. There's like there's certain sports stories where you're like, that fits the team.
But in a weird way, it worked. It worked out. I sound like a loser. It worked out because Ryan Fitzpatrick became the starting quarterback and had that like 32 touchdown season. Obviously didn't make the playoffs because he shit the bed.
No, but you shit the bed at the last moment.
Yeah.
Because Bill Belichick trolled you guys that year, right? Was that the year where he let the Steelers get the ball?
No.
Or he let the Jets get the ball? There was one year where he like just let a team win because he knew the Jets weren't going to make the playoffs or something.
That was the same year when he let the Jets get the ball. I think it was what's his name?
He tried to keep the Steelers out of the playoffs, I think, by doing that.
Yeah. They fucked up the coin toss in the overtime, and Eric Decker had the touchdown. But yeah, and then back to Rex Ryan gets fired. He signs Ike Polly. Thursday Night Football comes around and goes, Ike, you want to be the captain of the team today, so you can shake hands with the Jets and Geno Smith, or not Geno Smith because he's no longer the quarterback at the time.
I think he did the same thing to Jonathan Martin and Richie Incognito.
He did same thing with Burris.
He did the same thing to them. Did he not?
He did. Yeah.
Richie Incognito and Jonathan Martin's hysterical. It's just hysterical.
That is
you cannot be a grown man on a professional football team and get bullied. You just can't be. You just can't be. I'm sorry. There's no way. I can't visualize a world where you're bullied by another man who also weighs 295.
Just throw hands at that point.
Yeah, exactly. Break a jaw if you have to. Like the Jets.
Throwing hands, that shit's getting broken up in the first 2 to 3 punches.
Exactly. I don't believe that they were really fighting or it was real. I don't even believe it was real. So when I was in high school, we had a jersey day, and it was the last jersey day that the school had for years. Because
you ruined it. Is that is that where this is going?
I ruined it.
You ruined it.
I organized felon jerseys.
Oh.
I organized everyone to wear a different felon jersey. Like any crime you could imagine. We had Adrian Peterson, we had Brett Favre, some kid had a signed O.J. Simpson jersey.
That is crazy.
That
probably goes for a lot of money now.
Oh, yeah, 100%. Now he's dead.
Yeah.
But I was bringing jerseys for people. People were like, can I get a jersey? I was like, yeah, he's a Big Ben jersey.
Here's a big.
I had Ben Roethlisberger jerseys. I also have a Mike Vick Steelers jersey. Gave that one out.
Oh my god, this is diabolical.
We had big guns going. Then one kid shows up. He goes, I got a felon. He had a Jonathan Dwyer jersey. Jonathan Dwyer, 24 hours prior, got arrested.
Okay.
And he had a
for a felon, was it like a DUI?
He hit someone. He hit his wife or his kid or something. It was a DV for sure.
Damn.
But he had which is crazy. Who has a Jonathan Dwyer jersey? But some kid had both a Richie Incognito and a Jonathan Martin jersey and was switching every period.
Oh my god.
And you have to be in the know to know why he was doing that, but it was hysterical. Don't even know who the kid was. I have a picture. I can't post it anywhere for sure of all the people that I was friends with that participated in Felon Day.
Felon Day. So they ended the Jersey Day.
Jersey Day was no more.
Did the school know?
They didn't know I was organizing that.
Did they know it was a felon? Everyone were promoting.
They were aware. Some kid was told to take off his Adrian Peterson jersey for sure.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that was right around the time when Adrian Peterson.
Bad guy. I met him.
I remember when that happened.
I also met one of the kids. I don't know if I met the dead kid or the one that he shot.
I remember when that happened.
Not the one that he shot. He didn't shoot a kid. The one he hit.
Yeah. Remember when the whole Adrian Peterson news came out? And after he was hitting his kid, some kid was like,
"You going to Kettle Black?" I actually remember exactly.
Some kid was like, "Yo, we're wearing purple tomorrow." I was like, "Why?" It was for Adrian Peterson. I was like,
"Look,
what the fuck you mean?"
It's me and AP.
Holy shit!
It's me, AP, and the kid. Look at that. I'm wearing a Big Ben jersey.
That's the kid.
I don't know if that. I think that's the one that he hit, not the one that died.
Oh.
Yeah, look, Felon Day. I can't show that one to the camera. And we lined up on the lockers with our hands up.
That's crazy.
Oh, this was awesome. Oh, Ray Rice jersey too.
Is it ripped in the back?
Wait, no, nothing's ripped.
No, when you go to the Ray Rice jersey.
No, he's not. His jersey's not ripped. That's just a line on the jersey.
It's
Ray Lewis.
It's the hand there okay.
Oh man, it was so good, so well organized, and it was all NFL. We didn't even things to do any other felons because who's got the most felons? The NFL is crazy. People sending dick pics.
You know who has more felons? You know who has more felons in the NFL?
Who?
People in Congress.
Are there more felons in Congress?
Yes, there is. There's more felons in Congress.
I know. I know that they just arrested a congresswoman in New Jersey because she was trespassing in a federal prison or detention facility.
Oh, yeah. She got arrested by ICE,
as she should have.
You want to top that off real quick?
Yeah, of course, B8.
But when you read that, I was reading an article on that. She got detained. Was it here or was it
in Jersey.
was it a girl or a guy?
It was the mayor of Newark. He got arrested, as well as her.
You know, oh yeah, the mayor of New Jersey.
Of Newark.
Of Newark.
He's not charged with anything. He got out.
Yeah, he was it was catch and release. Funny story.
They're a big fan of catch and release.
Funny thing. This guy gets arrested at an ICE facility. So weird that he does that as he's running for Congress.
Oh.
So wait, is this a publicity
That
stunt?
makes more sense. Oh, so it's just like Cory Booker standing in front of
exactly
the House for 25 hours doing nothing. He wasn't even filibustering anything. He was there to filibuster the Trump administration. We voted for that. 73 million people voted for this. Shut up.
That's a bit. I still haven't seen footage of the filibuster.
No, because it won't exist. Then he also did something where he was sitting on the floor of Congress on the stairs.
Yeah.
I remember when Cory Booker. This is what he does. He does flashy, like, look at me things. Do you remember during Hurricane Sandy when he was driving around Newark?
I don't remember
when he was the mayor. Yeah, he was just driving around. Mayor Booker, Mayor Cory was just driving around during Hurricane Sandy in the middle of the night.
With a full National Guard escapade behind him.
Oh, of course, because he probably just did the driving. It was like there for CNN, and then just got out of his car.
That almost reminds me. Do you remember how much shit Chris Christie got from
for being on the beach or for being on the highway?
For being on the beach, and he was chilling on the beach, and then how close he was with Barack Obama after Hurricane Sandy. It's like how dare a Republican be so close to Barack Obama?
Which is crazy.
That's such a crazy. It's a national disaster.
I think we're moving away from the whole like bipartisanship is bad, because I think our generation understands you have to work with each other.
It's almost crazy. Like you didn't hear a peep because how much the Democrats hate Eric Adams and how much.
No, they hate Eric Adams.
Eric Adams was at the White House last week.
Well, because Trump's going to get him out. But he's not really going to get him out. He just froze his case.
You know what it is?
Hold it over his head.
You know what? Yeah. It's literally, Trump goes, okay, we're going to freeze your case. If you want to play ball, play ball. But it's almost, you're a pawn now.
He's never going to win. It's very hard to win in this city as an independent or a Republican. And I don't think that he can financially... can run a successful campaign as an independent.
With all these bribery allegations, he's got a...
Yeah, the Turkish
probably got a lot of money.
It's going to give him a couple dollars.
He's probably got a lot of money with all the...
Translate first-class flights to campaign funds.
Those flights, you get I got a flight voucher.
Yeah. Hey, I'm going to pay for this venue with a couple first-class tickets to Turkey. He would go to the Bahamas and fly through Turkey.
Oh, my God. It's a mess. The mayor, the primaries around the block.
The primaries around the block, but today
you got to rank. You got to rank.
Andrew Cuomo is likely to be the mayor of New York City, at least currently. But as of today, he's got a DOJ investigation in front of him, which is brought to him by Congress, not the president, as far as we know.
Yeah.
But the Republicans in Congress are trying to investigate him for his role in closing down New York City during the pandemic and some of the lies that he might have been telling.
Yeah. Because that's where he got hit. He was the star of the show during COVID.
It depends.
Every single day, he's got this little press conference. He's got a book. Oh, that book deal came out in 2021, a year after the pandemic. He was ready in the pandemic.
He was ready in 2018 to start it. He was like, the bat soup was very spicy.
It was, I remember seeing that at the shelves in Target. It was like, he had like 4 shelves, just Andrew Cuomo's book. It's like, how'd you write this in a year? There's no way.
It's such a bad look for us.
I have to read that book.
I don't want to read his book. I want to read Hillary Clinton's. I own it still. What happened?
Yeah.
I have to read it. I started reading it in like 2017 when it came out in 2018. I bought it wearing a MAGA hat. I went into Barnes and Noble wearing a MAGA hat and a MAGA shirt. And I was like, I want to buy Hillary Clinton's book, please. And I started reading it, and I was reading it, and I was like taking notes about what she was lying about. But like, now that I'm a realistic human being and I can read things a little bit objectively, I have to read it. I have to read it. I want to know what she thinks about it.
She was a very bad campaigner.
bad campaign. She had
Very
bad
bad.
campaigning. She was hated for so long. She's still hated. People do not like Hillary Clinton. Michelle Obama has a chance to be president. If she ever ran, I think she has a real chance to be president.
Yeah.
Not Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton is very well hated.
She was,
And
yeah.
she's
Yeah.
dumb comments still today in the big 2025.
About 2016 or just about.
No, about immigration and about like having children and just like spewing nonsense.
Okay.
She was just saying things like if Republicans are so concerned about like the birth rate of the country, maybe they should let immigrants in. That's not the answer. We want American children.
Yeah.
Americans should be having kids if they want to. Also, I don't think the majority of people believe that you need to have children.
You don't. It's not. It's no.
Like, I'm not a Republican or a Catholic or a Christian that believes you need to have children. I'm
You
not
know.
one of those people.
Yeah,
I think
yeah,
it,
yeah.
it depends on your situation and who you're with and do I want kids?
Because you could definitely be dating someone or marrying someone, and you could definitely be like, no, like me and her can never have kids together, or
Exactly, like,
vice
I could
versa.
see
Me and this guy
myself-
can never work as kids.
I can see myself having kids one day. I can see myself not having kids. I can see myself maybe potentially raising someone else's kids and never having my own. If that's what the situation called for.
Yeah.
It depends on the person that I'm meeting. It all depends on the person that I want to be with.
And we have no control. I hate to say
get
we have
because
no
of-
control, but you do and you don't.
You do and you don't. There's some middle ground. I don't believe in. I don't know.
But it's
There's
crazy.
a
As,
certain
like-
connection with someone. Sometimes
Absolutely.
it's worth letting go of what you
Yeah,
believe
yeah,
in
yeah.
too.
But I am a big believer in as an individual, you have very little control of your own life. You have
Yeah.
control of some. You have control of where you work,
Well,
what do you do for a living, the things you do on your free time.
especially for
But,
us
like-
as our generation. So, like, okay, this is perfect, right? Because our parents and our grandparents got to enjoy our national parks. They got to take time off. They got to take time off and go see this country after college or even during college. They didn't have to work through school like we do.
Yeah.
They didn't have to work the minute they got out of college like we do.
Yeah.
And they got to enjoy these things, and now they're cutting the budget to them,
Yeah.
and now these things are not going to exist for our kids or our grandkids.
Yeah.
They're just not going to exist. And I'm tired of paying into them.
Yeah.
Why am I going to pay into something that's not going to exist for when it's time for me to enjoy it?
Exactly.
Like that, back to national parks.
Back to now. Yeah, but when you even going back to like people always reminisce like our grandparents had it so much better. But then when you talk to like people of older generations, like, yeah, I worked one job at Con Edison, or like I worked one job for 30
Yeah.
years. Like, but then today people are like, I've worked like 40, 30,
I don't
40,
think
40
there's-
30.
Both things are good.
I think-
Loyalty is good, and jumping around for your benefit is good.
People did not do that back then. People
No,
have
they
one
didn't know to do
job.
that.
It almost was because
They were afraid
They
to
didn't-
not make money.
it wasn't that, but they also didn't need to.
No.
Because like,
You can work at Con Edison
You
for
could-
50 years, and you can send your kids to college.
You
and
could
pay
send your
for
kids-
it.
My grandpa, he worked at Con Ed for 30, 40 years, sent all of his kids to private school,
And a pension.
and was able to pay his own mortgage.
Bought a house on Long Island, bought property.
And his wife, my grandma, worked at Macy's. Like, you can't do that now. You can't do that, especially in New York.
Your grandfather was one of the few because women they didn't have to work, and
They didn't have to work. And then he came home and then he drank.
Good for him.
But also, it was like, back then, though, what other entertainment did they have besides, let me go home and drink?
Yeah.
Like, there's nothing.
Matlock.
Like, that was what you did. That's literally what you did.
Yeah, no.
You went home and you drank.
Sports weren't as good.
No,
No.
and it weren't as accessible today. Like, I can't watch. You couldn't be able to watch the Tigers game
The
in
fun
New York.
thing about sports is I think there was more superstars in the 70s. There was more
Yeah.
guys that stuck out. You were like, damn.
But think about it though. Like, how often were you able to watch them?
No, you watch the highlights. ESPN was new.
Even before ESPN, what'd you
Nothing.
do? So what'd you do when you got home?
You learned things. You read a book.
You read a newspaper and then you drank.
Well, because that's the goal of communism for sure, but also
Yeah.
capitalism. The goal is to make society stupid,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
and that's what sports do. And I'm kind of
Oh, it's a
out of
distraction.
it's a distraction from like you can enjoy sports without it being your priority.
Oh
They
yeah.
don't tell you that. They don't tell you that when you're like 14 years old and it's all you care about.
Why do you think sports betting is becoming such a?
Because they need to keep people interested.
Yeah. You got to give the people bread and give them a circus.
Mm-hmm.
They won't,
Why do you think it took so long to roll out?
yeah.
Because they needed it to roll out when
Yeah.
it rolled out. Nothing happens by accident, just like finding out that Joe Biden has cancer. That wasn't an accident that happened this week. I believe he has cancer, and I believe he's had it for a very long time, and it's very, very...
Very late stage.
It's very upsetting
It is upsetting.
to see
It's
that
sad.
these people around him treated him this way.
Yeah.
That he was a pawn for money and a pawn for notoriety or whatever it was, man. Like, I had said this for 4 years. He's about the same age as my grandmother when she passed away. I can't imagine her running a country at 86.
You know what's crazy? We're about to get the craziest, like the Last Dance documentary for Joe Biden.
I don't think he's
And
gonna.
and I think it's.
I don't think he's making it out of the year. Do you?
There's gonna be.
Do you think he's gonna live to the end of the year? No way. He's had cancer for years.
How long did Bush? Bush was very bad in very bad shape for a long time.
Yeah, but did he have cancer?
I don't think he had a multitude of things, but he
was a bad. Yeah, but that's also old. He was
also old. So was Joe Biden. Joe Biden's
Yes,
also old.
but not as old. He was like in his 90s when he died.
Yeah,
Or
he
Joe
was.
Biden's gonna be in his 90s in like 3 years.
Jimmy Carter was sad though.
Jimmy, was he? He was 100. Well, it's not that sad.
I think if we really rallied the troops, we could have voted him in.
Oh, they could. If they really wanted to, Jimmy Carter could have been president. Yes.
Just imagine that.
No, I can't. Jimmy Carter was a bad president when he was 60.
Oh, with the Vietnam. Oh my God, that was a bad. Yo,
He gave up. No. I don't care about anything other than I don't like. I went. First of all, I went to the Carter Museum.
Yeah.
In Atlanta. Awesome. For a president that is not well appreciated and a president that really didn't do much,
Yeah.
you do learn quite a few things. He did a lot for the Middle East and the Camp David Accords and things that he did for helping Africa. Jimmy Carter was very beneficial for other countries. He was not great for the United States of America.
The U.S. had a very bad stretch of presidents after JFK got assassinated.
Yeah, after JFK got assassinated, LBJ wasn't great.
LBJ.
And then Nixon, right?
LBJ, the stress of the Vietnam War.
He also didn't want to be president.
He didn't. The stress of the Vietnam War, the civil rights movement was just too much. He was fighting too many fronts.
Which also,
in the Cuban Missile,
didn't agree with civil rights. LBJ was not like a civil rights advocate.
He wasn't a civil rights advocate, but he did pass a lot of civil rights bills in honor of JFK.
And he had no choice.
He had no. He goes because he knew this wasn't his presidency. This is not my president. This is JFK's. I'm living
almost a full term that he didn't serve.
He goes, I'm gonna live it as JFK wanted it, because obviously, if you're the president, you give your vice president. This is the rundown. This is how I want it done.
Was the press conference that was booked?
Yeah,
the health press conference that was allegedly supposed to be the cure for cancer.
So yeah, LBJ, and then one term doesn't even run again.
Because he did not want to be president.
Nixon landslide. Was it Nixon? It was Nixon next, right?
Yeah, LBJ then Nixon.
We can even pull up.
Nixon lost to Kennedy and then ended up winning.
I have a very fun site we can pull up if you want to.
Go ahead.
270 to win. Very fun site. When I was teaching history last spring, that was like the greatest site ever.
This is a good website.
Very good.
What's it on?
So you can even
526 or something.
Look up go 270 to win past elections. And this is it's good.
You got to help me. I've never used it.
Go back to Google. Go back to the and then it'll bring up past elections. Because then it gives you a whole drag feature, which is there we go.
Oh wow, from 17. Oh, I've seen this. I've been on this.
Yeah. So then go to the Nixon. Go to the Nixon ad.
Summer when I was like, I would take my medicine, and then I go on this website during the campaign.
Can they see? They can see this, right?
No, not yet. Pick what you want, and then we'll share it.
Let's see. Where are we?
No, that's Reagan. One before it. Because Reagan was 84, 88 was Bush. So we got to go to, where are we? Oh, that's Jimmy.
Well, Jimmy only runs for 4 years.
Only won, yeah, but Nixon.
Nixon, yeah. Show the Nixon. This is even a bigger landslide than FDR in the 1930s. This is even a bigger against fucking Herbert Hoover.
Let's see. Let's share that. There we are.
Yeah, share that 520 to 17. And then
Reagan. We talk about Reagan like he was like this Republican hero who won the country moreover, but clearly the country was Republican when Reagan
at the time,
was running.
yes.
Clearly, we had a conservative country,
Mhm.
Especially post-war. Post-war, people changed their tune a little bit.
Yeah. Isn't it crazy? When you look at crazy, New York has 41, California has 45. That's crazy.
I can't believe it's gone down.
Yeah.
Everything's gone down. Pennsylvania is only 19 now.
Well, it makes sense, though. When you think about it, it makes sense.
Yeah, because people are spreading out. The country's spreading thinner.
Which is a good thing.
Oh, it's a good thing, 100%.
We need more cities. We need more cities.
Every state
we can't have 8 cities.
Every state needs to have 2 cities.
Yes.
Realistically.
They need to have business. They need, you look at this, but Nixon destroys the government.
Yeah. I mean,
I love the scene, favorite movie of all time, Forrest Gump. Because my favorite scene in the Forrest Gump movie is when he stays at the Watergate Hotel and he calls the front desk and he's like, it looks like the people have lost power. It seems like they're looking for a power breaker or something. And it's the fucking Watergate scandal.
So
it's like, that was the biggest.
Did you know they were supposed to make a second Forrest Gump?
Yes, they were. Yes.
And do you know when it was supposed to start filming?
Right before 9/11.
No, September 12th, 2001. Forrest Gump 2, or around.
Yeah.
Forrest Gump 2 was supposed to start filming, and I believe it was Tom Hanks. Kind of went up to the people making the movie and was like, "You can't tell the story of Forrest Gump without telling 9/11, and now the story of America has completely changed, and we don't know for how."
Because Forrest Gump is...
I'm going to move out of this map.
Yeah. Forrest Gump is... The whole base of the movie is you're just pulling the government's chain during the whole years of Vietnam, civil rights. That's because you're making fun of the government.
We need more movies like it. It's like we need more movies where they tell American history, because I learned a lot from that movie.
You tell American history in a way where you're making fun of the government
and
without
not the
doing
greatest
it.
years of American history. You talk about he was there for the 10 state riots. Or
it's funny though because he's there for like every single historic event that ever happens. And speaking of,
he burps in Reagan's face, right?
Yeah. And it's just funny. But we don't see movies where like you're telling American history, but you're also like in a way like subtweeting, making fun of them. Like underline, it's funny. Like Borat 2.
But Borat
was just like it wasn't like you're making fun of them. You're just making it so
fine. The only problem I have with it is Borat 2 came out at a time where we were only making fun of people that were right-sided.
Mm-hmm.
Only people that were Republican. That's what that movie ended up being, which, it's hysterical. It's hysterical you get Rudy Giuliani to get into a situation like
bad.
that.
That was
crazy. Crazy, but he's always done that, so that's why I don't have a problem with it. The only problem I have...
He's always done that. That was
Sacha Baron Cohen.
They're talking about Rudy Giuliani.
No. Sacha Baron Cohen. Do you remember in like 2017, 2018, there was a guy running for election at Congress, governor, something like that in Alabama. I think his name was Roy Moore or something like that.
Yeah.
He's a pedophile.
Mm-hmm.
And he got an interview with him as like one of his characters, Sacha Baron Cohen.
Yeah.
On TV.
Oh my god.
I mean, using like one of the the wands that we use in security.
Yeah.
He was using do you see the pedophile detector? Beep, beep, beep. Oh no, maybe he's broken. And he really got this guy. I don't remember what his name was. I want to say it's Roy Moore,
great
but
at that. I don't know how he like.
Because now, especially now that he has some sort of connections, he can really get into these places.
Yes, because
but at the beginning, he was always doing this. This is how Borat started. Borat is before the movies. He exists before the movies.
Yeah. His character, yeah.
And it's so good. Sacha Baron Cohen is awesome, especially as a Jew.
Mm-hmm.
Being able to make fun of Jewish culture a little bit. You would never believe that he's Jewish if you watch any of Sacha Baron Cohen's things, but like you can poke fun of a culture without crossing a line.
Yes, and I think the Borat movie, it's like on a deeper surface. That's literally what it is. You're making fun of the government. You're making fun of on a serious level, and we don't see that anymore.
Well, see, like
Unless you're a late night show host and you have to make fun of
no,
one side.
but they only make fun of one side, and I can't stand it. SNL is getting better.
Yeah.
I think SNL is getting better. They're moving towards a more we make fun of. Their Trump is awesome. The guy that does Trump is phenomenal.
You know who used to make fun of Obama a lot? Jay Leno. He did
but
not like Obama.
But not that he didn't like Obama. You could.
Yeah.
You used to be able to make fun of both sides.
Yeah.
And then for some reason, you weren't. You can't have my opinions as a person don't exist in a form where I'm not a conservative. I know I'm not. But I'm definitely not a liberal. I'm not left-sided. I'm a right-leaning middle person.
Yeah.
I am probably a libertarian, and I'll never admit that I am.
Yeah.
I'm closer to a populist, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not a conservative. That's bad, and we've moved away from that. But you can't make fun of one group of people. And being a Republican who had to take it, like South Park is good at this.
South Park is great at it.
Make fun of everybody. I can laugh at a joke about everybody. If you make fun of everyone, no matter what they look like and what they believe in and who they are, I can laugh.
Yeah.
But if you decide to only make fun of a sect of people that I fit into, and then you say, "Oh, all their jokes are not allowed," I don't agree with that. I don't agree. I grew up in a way, especially living in Brooklyn, and the middle school that I went to. The middle school I went to was very diverse.
Yeah.
We had kids who were immigrants from countries that you couldn't even believe. I've said this multiple times on the show. One of my better friends was an Uzbekistani kid who was born in Uzbekistan.
Yeah.
But he's Korean.
Wow.
Yeah, and he was like a really good kid. He was like a really good friend of mine from middle school. I knew another kid who ended up being in the Pakistani military when he joined when he was 18 because he had to be.
It was a forced military service?
Yeah. And like growing up that way, I think in a way was bad. Because I did not understand that people were offended by things.
Yeah.
We used to make fun of each other. I got made fun of for being Italian. I made fun of you for being Chinese.
Yeah.
It was just like that. Oh, Italians and Puerto Ricans used to make fun of each other relentlessly. And then I went to a high school where it was predominantly white. And we were all Catholic, Irish, Italians. And it created this small-mindedness in me. That was bad. I can admit this is bad.
Yeah.
And I'm glad I'm growing out of it. I'm glad that like my adult brain is saying, oh, there's more to life than picking right or left. But we need to do that as a generation.
Yeah.
Our generation needs to do better at listening to opinions.
Yeah. 100%.
We're not good at it. It's okay to believe in other things.
And I feel like we're in such a, it sucks because what hurts us is in the social media age, people will post opinions, but they put it in the most extreme way possible.
And that's my problem. I know that. As I can't be on social media because when I go on Twitter, I want to argue.
But the reason why people do that, when you look at both sides, you're going to say something the most extreme way because you're going to get engagement.
Get clicks. Exactly.
Get clicks. And then people see it over and over and over and over again. And it almost gets scared. On both ways, the right and the left, they get fear-mongered. You get so fearful of the other side that you feel like, oh my God, this is life or death. This election's life or death.
They made us believe it.
Oh my God, and it's horrible.
First of all, I'm sorry. I don't care what you believe in or who you believe in or what you like.
Yeah.
Them telling you this is the candidate and this is the person that we're putting out there.
Trump and Kamala are both guilty of it.
No. Trump was put through a primary.
Oh yeah, he was. Yes, he was.
He was put through, and he was picked.
Oh, Kamala not being through a primary was
bad.
That was
Listen,
bad.
We
That's
all.
bad.
I could have told you it. It's funny because people. I don't know what it is, but people actually think about my political opinion. They'll call me.
Yeah.
And they'll be like, especially the last two elections have been like this. 2020, people called me and asked me what I thought. And 2024, I feel, which is weird because I have no reason. There's no reason for people to want to listen to my political opinion.
Yeah.
But people do want to listen to my political opinion. And these are just private conversations with friends or relatives. And in 2020 specifically, I remember I was on the phone with my uncle. And he asked me what I thought about the election. I told him specifically, we're going to go to sleep, and Donald Trump is going to be up big.
Yeah.
But after at most 2 days, we're going to see that he did not win.
Mhm.
That it's over because these mail-in ballots are bad.
Yeah.
Bad. When you give people an opportunity to vote and not know who fills it out, it's bad. I don't know if it was rigged. I don't know if anything happened in 2020. I can't speak on it. But having this idea that my grandmother's ballot it could have come to my home and I could have filled it out is bad.
Mail-in ballots do benefit Long Island though, especially
Why?
because when you think about it, so when John Venditto was running for town supervisor, he initially lost the election back in when was I a freshman in high school? 2016.
Yeah, my
He
senior year.
initially lost the election because of all the shit that was going out about him. He ended up winning the election from the mail-in ballots because you want to know why? All the old heads, they live in Florida, and that's
Yeah, I don't agree with
which
it.
is crazy. I was like, and then you question, it's like, did he really win?
You only really you own property in New York and you're still voting in New York. Go vote where you live. I don't agree with that. Even if it's a Republican winning, I
They
don't
get him
agree
out
with
there,
mail-in
though. They get him out
Mail-in
there.
ballots are bad. If you want to vote in this country, it's election day,
Yeah.
and that's it. That's how I believe.
One thing I feel like we got to really talk about, because it is we've brushed about it. We've talked about it earlier, but we brushed about it. Was the mayoral debates? We got to talk about it. The mayoral
We do
election.
have a big mayoral election, which is weird.
This might be the weirdest one that we've seen in a while.
It's weird because there's going to be a power struggle. Because if Andrew Cuomo wins, as he is projected to win,
Mm-hmm.
before we know how this DOJ investigation is going to affect him, he's going to answer to someone that he made his lieutenant governor.
Yeah. One of my friends, Cuomo's done. He's done some good things, as he did expand the MTA police department because how him and de Blasio would butt heads.
He wasn't a bad governor. He gets his bad rap because of COVID. And
then
as a Republican, I'm saying this.
The sexual assault cases that forced him to step down.
Okay, the sexual assault cases, which we've heard nothing of since.
Yes, we haven't heard yet.
Is crazy. And the strip poker thing, which I don't know much about. I can admit I don't know much about it. Maybe there is something there.
Yeah.
And maybe there are people that feel victimized by him. But the things that he really did, that there are evidence for, and the things that he really did have to step down for, are like being too Italian.
Yeah.
He kissed someone on the cheek twice and hugged them when they didn't want to. I do that. I'm sorry.
But also, thing that benefits him, the name, the Cuomo name, Mario.
Oh, Mario's kid.
Oh my, you're Mario's kid. You got a bridge.
And Chris keeps talking about him.
It's the name. It's almost like you're a Vanderbilt.
The bridge is bullshit. No.
Tappins. Talking about that the other
It's
day.
Vanderbilt. Don't get me started twice. I fucking hate Anderson Cooper.
He is a Vanderbilt, yeah.
He didn't get there honestly. He didn't get there the right way, and he's got this opinion that really changes the way people think. Anderson Cooper is an important voice in our news.
Yeah.
And he is probably a terrible person. He
Oh,
has probably been to Jeff's Island multiple times, and he is a bad person with a bad history.
Well,
the Vanderbilts are who I aim to be. Like, me and my brother had a real conversation. Me and Matthew had a real conversation.
Built up the family name.
About a year ago. When Joe Biden, who was allegedly running things, was like, war looked real. Like, it looked real that World War III was going to happen a year ago. And I don't think we're as close to it as we were a year ago. I think that there's peace in the Middle East again. Mostly. Aside from Gaza and Israel. Which is Israel's fault. And I think we're learning that. I think we're learning... Anti-Semitism is real.
Yeah.
And it's really growing in this country. And it's really growing in the world.
And it's scary when that happens.
It's very scary. It's scary that people could hate you because of what you believe as a religion that's existed for thousands and thousands of years. That people could just hate you because you believe.
But it's always been that way for them, though.
And I don't understand how you can get kicked out of 109 countries. And the more I read and understand about it, it just doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't understand. I don't understand. It's what we're doing now to Muslims.
Yeah. Exactly.
It's exactly what we're doing now to Muslims. It's fear-mongering. And I don't get it.
In Nazi Germany,
but here's the thing that people need to realize. Your issue is not with people who are Jewish.
Yeah.
Your issue is with Israel and their government. You don't hate Jews, you hate Israel.
Yeah.
Because Israel is a real problem. Israel's creating real problems. And as a Catholic and as a Christian, they are the wardens of my Holy Land.
Yeah.
We have trusted them with our Holy Land, and they are not doing a good job with it. That's just something I truly believe. How can you constantly create war? They're bombing Gaza again. At the beginning of this, on October 7th, 2023, if you had a conversation with me, I would tell you I was team parking lot. Fuck them all.
Yeah.
How dare you attack Israel? How dare you? Those are our friends. They don't want peace. They don't want peace, just like Ukraine and Russia don't want peace.
Why would they want peace when you get all this funding?
No, because peace, yeah, exactly. War equals money. War equals money. If you have the...
And it's not even from governments, bro. You got to think about, you'd be dumb to think that countries only benefit money from countries. They get all this private funding, bro. There's these private militaries. We'll sell you weapons. We'll sell you this. We'll give you a discount. We'll give you this. War equals money. And it's not just countries. There's private militaries out there.
Since World War II. If had the Great Depression not happened at the time that it did, after the Great Depression was on the heels of World War One.
And then World War II gets them out.
Because World War One, they saw, we made all this money, and we were financially, like, really doing well for like 6 or 7 years after World War One. And
no one was doing well after World War One.
Well, because 1929 is when everything crashed.
The 20s, yes.
There was a time period after World War One.
Everyone comes home.
Things were thriving.
Yes, you are right on that. You are right.
Things were doing fucking fantastic, and then things crashed because all that money was gone. All the surplus of tools and utilities and all the things that we sold people was gone. So what's the best way to do it? World War II. And who's got the money? Who's got established money throughout the world? Jewish people. And I really do believe that the Jewish people were attacked because of the funds that they could have provided.
I actually took a class when I went to SUNY Cortland it was a Holocaust class. Very interesting. The one thing that sucked about it was a 9 a.m. class.
See, at the beginning of my college tenure, loved the 8 a.m.
I did love it too. Do you mind if we pause for another bathroom break?
Of course. Let's finish this take.
And it was the class was very interesting because you cover it on the beginning in Nazi Germany. So we have the whole world is in an economic Germany, especially Germany after what they are forced to sign the Treaty of Versailles.
And that's World War One.
Yeah. They are. When you said that America was doing good after World War One, yes, they won. Germany is not doing good.
No, but that was on purpose.
It was the Treaty of Versailles made that on purpose.
But we're seeing this in the world today. Finally, Donald Trump is saying that we're going to take sanctions off of Syria, which is going to be if you know anything about the Syrian civil war and the Syrian revolution, they have a real chance of being a thriving country. This is a good thing. And whether you love Donald Trump or you hate Donald Trump, a free Syria and a Syria that is free of paying America money that they don't need to pay them is good for the world. Good. Because you stop letting terrorists thrive. Mm-hmm. Terrorists thrive on poverty.
Yeah. All right, let's take the bathroom break here.
Yeah, let's take a bathroom break. We'll come right back. So as we were saying before, earlier, we started this with a Cuomo.
We've been bouncing around the Cuomo take,
teetering around the
tiptoeing as
conversation. Yeah, so he's being investigated by the DOJ because of Congress.
Yes, because of Congress.
The Republicans in Congress have caused this DOJ investigation about something related to the COVID pandemic and how he handled that as governor. However, he's currently running for mayor of New York City, which, if he were to win, which he is probably going to, at least before this DOJ news hits the public and people care about it, he is, as of today, May 21st, he is going to be probably the mayor of New York City, which is weird, because the governor of New York, he appointed as his lieutenant governor before he was removed as governor. Yeah. You know a little bit more about this mayoral race than me. I'm a little bit into.
Did you just say so the Republicans wanted to put the DOJ on Cuomo, right?
Yeah, the Republicans. The Republicans in Congress did it.
That's a puzzling move. It's a puzzling move.
Is it?
because when we talk about
It's New York.
it is New York. It's a very, very democratic state, and then you can even
think about what they did. Think about what they did over the last year to Donald Trump,
Yeah.
and they made him answer
When you-
questions.
Republicans do it. It's puzzling. If we can pull up the polls real quick on the Marist polls, the first polls. This is even before the primary. The primary is coming out. I believe it's June 25th. June 20 something.
And we don't get a say in it.
We don't get a say. It's a rank system. Did you know that, right?
I hate the rank system.
It's such a flawed system.
Eric Adams won. Eric Adams like second and third hit.
Yeah, if you get enough second and third, fourth place votes, it boosts you up to non-belief. So obviously you have Cuomo in first,
but this second place guy is scary. Zoran,
and that's why I'm saying it's puzzling for Republicans. It's very puzzling for Republicans to want to go after Cuomo when Zoran is very far left.
That's what bothers me. As a Republican,
it's confusing.
I'm a Republican in New York.
Yeah.
Eric Adams or Andrew Cuomo are fine with me.
So,
because that's as far right as we're going to get in the current state of New York. Unfortunately, what I had thoroughly believed for this election cycle, for the general election, I thought Donald Trump would come within 10 points of New York.
Yeah.
Because if he came within 10 points of New York, Republicans would start donating into New York.
Yeah.
It just that's how it works. Once you think that you can win something,
he came close to New Jersey though.
They're going to. They're going to start donating into New Jersey. New Jersey's going to see some real Republican candidates. Yeah. We don't have that yet in New York, and we're not going to have that for at least two election cycles, I think.
With Zoran, I don't want to be like the problem with his campaign though is he's the second
very socialist.
It's socialist, and when you're in a city like New York, you can't fight multiple fronts at the same time.
No, and if you're a New Yorker who wants to vote for socialism, let me point a light to AOC.
Yeah.
And what her districts in the Bronx and Queens look like. If you like crime and prostitution, then keep voting for socialism. Because your socialist leaders are taking first-class flights to go speak at Coachella. Your socialist leaders are not socialists. What you believe, they do not believe. They want your money. They think you're stupid.
So with Zoran, let me get into Zoran. I think the problem with him is he's fighting multiple fronts. Like when you read his things,
let me go back to this.
He talks about how which is good. It makes sense. When baby's born in New York, they're gonna get a basket of a first basket of initial
essentials. That's fine.
That's good. Great. That is great. A lot of Switzerland does that. A lot of countries do that, and it works.
And that's good. That's something that we should do. I agree with that.
Something they should do.
That's just like no tax on tips that just got voted and approved.
And that is a very basic
no brainer.
But then when he gets almost too aggressive, when he's like, "We're gonna make the MTA ridership free," and he did do it when he was originally a congressman. He did do a congressional man. He did do it as
state Congress.
Yeah, state congressman. He did it for one of the districts he was representing. He made MTA bus ridership free for I think it was for a 1-day period. And they did notice how ridership assaults on MTA riders went down, but very small sample size. That's only
You're talking about 1 day in a certain congressional district.
Yeah, and
you're talking about a day in Harlem or a day in the Bronx.
It was done,
or a day in Coney Island.
It was also done on a weekend too, but
so not a day where people are really commuting.
But then the thing is, though, you really think the MTA is just going to allow you to make their ridership free? That's never happening in your first term.
No, the MTA.
That's never happening.
The MTA, who's charging
private
you
company, by the way,
a private entity that is charging you to drive your car through Manhattan. So, if you want to drive in Manhattan, if you want to be in Manhattan, whether you take a bus, you take a train, or you drive your car, the MTA is making money.
Yeah,
it's criminal.
So it's like, you can fight that front. That's all right. If you want to make MTA ridership, you want to make it cheaper, great. Please do.
But before we do that, you know what I want in New York City and New York State?
What do you want?
A fucking Department of Government Efficiency. I want to go through the books.
Go through the books.
This state is backwards. We have liberals that are pushing conservative laws. From the 70s and 80s, it doesn't make sense.
It will never make it. Because
there's money
when you're in office, there's no party. There's no parties. Once you're in office, there's no party.
No,
there's
no
party.
Exists for campaigning.
Yeah, exactly. And then his next stance is he's also very anti-NYPD. So it's very confusing. You're fighting MTA. That's a major battle. And then you're going to fight the NYPD?
It's crazy. It's crazy. How do you
That's two major wars you're fighting at one time.
No matter what you believe as a liberal or a conservative or a Republican, and you talk about police brutality, and it's real. Police brutality exists.
It is real.
It's not existing in New York City, which is a militia, a military of 30,000 troops.
It's a
in
dead
the
job.
NYPD.
Right now, it's a dead job.
Oh, I was going to be a cop. I wanted to be a cop. I couldn't wait to be a cop. Not a lot of people are like me.
It's the way the job is now is they're understaffed. Nobody wants to be a cop.
Well, because why would you? Why would you want to be a cop
In a
when
city-
they're talking about hating you and defending and defunding you? And when you become a cop now, you don't even get a precinct most of the time.
You go,
They just put you out on the street. Hey, go hang out in Times Square.
Like for most of all, if you graduate and you're in the summer class, you go, all right, you're about to go all out in this district, and then come wintertime you're going to be here, and then we got to put you based on seniority. You got to go back to the 101, which is the Rockaways.
And it's
not the same
you're
job
not
as it
gonna
was.
keep young people.
And it's sad.
That way.
Same thing with FDY EMS. The EMS has been out of a contract for a long time, and no one's taken the job.
Why would you want to be an EMT when you can go to McDonald's for $15 an hour?
The thing,
what's the difference? Don't they make like $18?
the thing with EMT though, it starts out shitty, but when you hit that step 4, step 5, which is all easy,
Every job.
you're already making. EMTs do make when you're step 4, step 5, you're making like 70,000, which is not bad. But when you're already 4 or 5 years into a city job, that's
you expect
horrible.
to make more, but you got to think about big picture. That's the
Yeah.
problem. Our generation does not think about the long haul.
Yeah.
I was excited to become a cop, and if I became a cop, I would have been making less money for the first 5 years than I was making while we're doing security.
Your money would have been into deferred comp. A lot of your money would have been into deferred retirement.
But the big picture of like having a family that can have medical insurance,
Exactly.
and the idea that I only have to do this job for 22 years and then I get paid for the rest of my life is great.
Yeah.
And I had a job that was security could have protected me I had a job when I came out of retirement, when I went to retire already. And it was like, I've thought about big picture. Unfortunately, our generation does not think big picture. They think the moment, and they think the now, and how much can you pay me today? And we lost that. TikTok and Instagram and social media has ruined this idea that you have to grow who you are. And you have to build up who you are. You have to start at $35,000 a year before you make 6 figures in 20 years.
That's how it is, though. It's like...
But we lost touch with that. We really did lose touch with that. Like as a 27-year-old, especially someone who, again, my career path and my future is up in the air because I got hurt. But with that being said, there's a big idea from social media that at 27 I should be made already.
Yeah.
And that's wrong.
Yeah,
and now I'm realizing that I'm hurt and that I'm out of it and that I'm very introspective and I can look at things that like, all right, maybe I'm not that late at 27.
Yeah.
But damn, time is running out.
I remember 2 years ago when I was still in college, I went to my uncle's Christmas party. And this guy was like, "Oh, how's college going?" I'm like, "It's going good." Like, when you're in college, you're broke. Especially
college is a crime, first of all.
It is a crime. And
I haven't even learned anything. What did you actually take from college?
To be honest, when I went to school to be a teacher, the only times I actually learned how to be a teacher was because it's a New York State mandate that you have to have 100 hours of supervision.
New York State mandates, first of all, are bullshit.
No, but
in everything.
Let me say this right quick.
Why do I need a gym class to finish college?
Yeah, exactly. So let me explain. So when I was in these classes, I was learning a lot about history, which is cool. But then when you go into being a teacher, the guidelines, they don't give there's no point in spending 6 months on learning about labor law.
Like if
I
you're
took
becoming
a class
a
on
teacher,
labor law.
People don't realize
when
that.
you're a teacher.
All you need is a degree, really, essentially, and then take your certifications.
All of that, you get your degree, take your certifications, and then follow the state curriculum. Every state has their own guideline on what you need to teach. That's all that matters. So then, when you're going to school to be a teacher, it really doesn't matter. The classes are just yes, they're going to be very history intense. You're going to have to write a lot of papers on like one historical topic.
But that's depending on what you want to do. You decided on history.
Yes.
You can, if I wanted to decide to just take liberal arts, I could.
You could have gotten your degree, but you would have to end up taking your master's and then getting your certification.
And but that's where I'm at right now. So now that I wanted to become a cop, and that's not going to happen. I'm never going to be able to do it.
I honestly think you would be a great teacher.
I don't know.
I think you would.
I hated school.
You might have hated school, but teaching it is I hated school, but teaching it is a whole different.
I want to do law. That's my goal. I need to figure out my finances and get my finances in order.
Yeah.
And I want to do law school. It's something that I have thought about throughout my life. And now it's something that over the last 2 years is incessant. I can't stop thinking about it.
Yeah,
I can't stop thinking about getting my law. And I want to help people. And I don't know what that means. I don't know if it means helping people who are medically frustrated like I am.
There's so much
or if it's union law.
Union law is fun. Labor law is fun. That's why we have Labor Day.
Well, yeah, but
I've heard of the 8-8-8, 8 hours of sleep, 8 hours of work, 8 hour leisure.
Oh, Henry Ford!
8-8-8, give him 8-8-8.
So like I said last week, I made a point of this last week. If you hate Elon Musk, look up Henry Ford. You don't hate Elon Musk, you hate Henry Ford. Henry Ford is the reason why your life sucks.
You know what's funny? I saw this tweet the other day. It was like, Elon Musk, like, or even like Donald Trump is the president working like a dog. And he even finds time to tweet. He even finds time to tweet. You're expecting a text back?
So I said this to Matthew the other day. Pope Leo has been tweeting. He's a tweeter. He tweets things like...
Should the Pope tweet? That's a question.
Yes.
Yes. Why not?
Yes, because he should be spreading his message. And what he's tweeting is not bad.
Yeah.
But, like, I can't imagine that Pope Leo is sitting at his phone for an hour and a half being like, this is busting. People love that. He's got to sit down there, like, ahead of time, right? Like, is he setting these tweets up on, like on these websites that can post your tweets hours ahead of time? He's like, at 2:30, let America know that they're loved and that they're gonna get through this.
Wait, just imagine. Before Elon took over Twitter, and then like you can see what people were liking, and it was so easy to find burner accounts.
It was so bad.
Imagine,
It was so bad.
Imagine now.
It was so hard.
Imagine now you could find a Pope Leo burner account. Imagine a Pope Leo Twitter burner account.
But his burner account is probably tweeting things like, yeah, Luis Robert fucking sucks in center field.
He's just running on the White Sox, and he's like,
Pope that actually cares.
You just hear
so funny. Like, he's from Chicago. He probably has an opinion on CM Punk.
He's a Knicks fan though. That's all that cares.
Yeah, Villanova.
He's a Nova boy. He's a Nova boy.
Listen, so I've said this before on the podcast, and I'll say it multiple times. I took a gap, Pope.
Okay.
I was an altar server during Benny.
Yeah.
I was a big Catholic. I grew up in the Catholic Church, and somewhere around high school, around when Francis took over, I fell out of love with it. I fell out of love with it because I was forced to do it. Fell out of love with Scripture.
When you're forced to do something, you kind of like.
And I had this idea during Lent this year that I wanted to go to church more, and I never did it. And I don't believe in being an ashes and palms Catholic.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
There's people that are A&P Catholics. I am not one of them. I believe that you should do it at least a whole year before you get the ashes and the palms.
I've been that for a while. I'm trying to correct that. Once again, I've given you a date where we got to go to church.
And we're going to go more often. We've gone to church before.
Yes.
And I think that's awesome. I think it's awesome that people our age are comfortable going to church together now.
Yes. It should be. Church should be a social thing because did you know Roman Catholics have the highest suicide rates out of any other religion?
Because there's Catholic guilt. We believe that we are the bane of all existence. But it's a problem. Catholics and Christians are like the most fucking... Like, we get killed on this planet.
Can I say...
A lot of other religions. It really happens.
So my
persecution.
My uncle's a Protestant priest. It's still a branch of Catholicism. And one
It's
thing
the most welcoming Catholicism, is it not?
it's very welcoming, which is a good thing. I remember when he was a priest in California. He had a mass, and we went to his mass. And I think one thing they did very well that I've never seen in a Roman Catholic church is they had like at the end of mass they would have like a coffee hour.
But it depends on the mass. You
Like-
can get that.
Like you can get that, but like we're in the city of LA. Like
Yeah, you're in a city
we're
where
in a city, and
there's community building.
he's a very good priest. I've sat through a few of his lectures. He's a very good priest, and I've even talked about it. I've even talked to him like, what is the weekly like preparation for a mass? And he's like, it's on Monday, like Sunday you preach, Monday you're reading next week's, like, because you follow a calendar. You read Monday, you write Monday, you write like on your reading, and then Tuesday is almost like a reflection day. You might have side quests along like anointing of the sick.
It's like the NFL. Tuesday's an off day.
Yeah, you might have, but like for a priest, there's no off because you might have anointing of the sick. You might have this, that.
There's always something that pops
There's
up.
always something that pops up. So when you're a priest, you're always on call. You're always on call.
Of course, because you never know when someone needs a
And-
blessing.
Exactly, and he's just like telling me, I'm like, this is like, not many people have like luxury of like talking to priests on knowing what is the daily life of like, because it is a sacrifice. Being a priest is a sacrifice.
Of course, it's a sacrifice, but like, so is practicing a religion.
Yes,
It's just depending. You should not feel guilty about the sacrifice that you are willing to commit to what you believe in.
Yeah.
You can only fit it into the life that God has permitted you to fit it into. That's the thing about
Yeah.
religion, at least what I believe, is God has permitted everything.
Can you?
This conversation that we are meant to be had
Yeah.
was decided 2,000 years ago before we even existed.
Yeah.
I truly believe in that.
But like, can you imagine like the church we go to, Sam Rose? Imagine they had like a coffee hour after mass.
They do sometimes, though.
They do.
They just did this Sunday. They did a
Because when I went as a kid, they never had any.
No,
like,
no.
social.
Catholicism has been getting better at building communities because they
You
know
have
that
to build a
First of all,
community.
Christianity is community building, period. Christianity is about who you socialize with and who you're around and who
Yeah.
you give your time to.
Yeah.
Catholicism is just a branch of Christianity. It's the religion we are part of.
Yeah.
So I don't understand why we don't have Bible study and why we don't have these things. But last Tuesday, I went to a class.
Yeah.
I went to a class about St. Francis.
Okay.
At my church. It was free. And I got myself there. I was able to do it. It was an hour long. It wasn't too bad. And it was really informative. And I feel like Catholicism is at least leaning into it now, but not our whole
Yeah.
lives. It felt like something that you learn the X, Y, and Z. You know the X, Y, and Z, but I am very privileged that I grew up in the church, that my mother was a Catholic school, like a Sunday school teacher.
Yeah.
I was an altar server, and then I went to Catholic school for high school, so I do have a good sense of religion, and I do know a lot about the well-roundedness of religion. But a lot of people only know the stories of Jesus and the apostles.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Which our religion, at least Catholicism, is much deeper than Jesus
Mm-hmm.
and what happened. The apostles and the saints. We believe in sainthood. JP2 is a saint.
Yeah.
And that's our lifetime.
Yeah.
So that's what makes it exciting. We have a saint now who's going to be a millennial saint. I don't know much about him. I can't tell you his name. But I know that he definitely has 2 miracles. He's cured, believe cancer. He's cured cancer at least.
Yeah.
Believed that he cured cancer. And as a Catholic, I believe it.
Yeah. It's like it's always like the one thing I hate is like, which I don't think should even be a thing, is like the battle between like medical research and religion.
So as someone who now...
There's even a Family Guy episode about that.
Oh, of course.
This is the second time we brought up Family Guy on a podcast.
It's like
That's crazy.
Scientology, and we have a Christian Science church right here next to St. Rose.
Yeah.
I don't really believe that. So like the way I've now approached my life, at least this year in 2025, I I don't really believe in medicine as much
Yeah.
as I did a year ago. Medicine got me to a really bad place in my life. I was on pills, and I was not healthy. I was not my best version. And I didn't take Oxy. I didn't take painkillers. I took muscle relaxers, things I wasn't addicted to, things I had to take for a year straight because I wasn't feeling good. I'm still not feeling good, and I'm trying to figure that out.
Yeah.
But I don't know where I was going with this, but our medical field is broken, and Christian Science.
Yeah.
But okay, so as at a point where I don't believe in medicine as much. Medicine is still helpful.
It is.
I had a tooth pulled a couple of weeks ago. I had an infection there 2 weeks before that. I took amoxicillin. I'm not a moron.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna die of an infection because I believe that God didn't want me to.
Yeah.
But with that being said, medicine is not necessarily 100% the answer.
Yeah, because News 12 just aired a skit on the Ozempic.
Ozempic is fucking poison. It's crazy.
This guy just sued Ozempic. You have Ozempic, you have GLP-4 because he started going blind.
We're drinking espresso martinis.
Yeah.
We put cinnamon in it.
Yeah.
Do you know cinnamon lowers your GLP-1 just the same as Ozempic?
Really?
Yeah, that's why I put cinnamon in things.
And you could put cinnamon in anything.
Oh, cinnamon in coffee is fantastic. I put cinnamon on my steak now.
You can even put cinnamon. Yeah, my mom does that. My mom puts cinnamon.
Oh, it's
cinnamon.
So good.
I said cinnamon like the fucking
like the Apple Jacks commercial.
Yo, if anyone gets a cinnamon commercial,
Of course they do.
Of course,
I'm assuming that all of the hundreds of people that are watching are
they get the
friends of mine.
cinnamon.
Yeah.
That's a good reference.
It's a good commercial. We imagine we're doing the berries and cream or the Skittles.
Blueberry?
Oh, blueberry.
I've never had the blueberry or Count.
You never had Count Chocula?
I've never had Count Chocula.
I'm not a cereal person.
Yo, think about when we
Count Chocula's gas.
I'm about to take a complete. This might even be a complete 360 blow you away. Talk about the Nickelodeon shows we grew up on.
Did you watch the Dan Snyder documentary?
I did.
Oh my God! What a monster!
What
a monster!
Did
you see his podcast interview afterwards?
Who's Dan Snyder's? Or he came out and spoke?
Oh, he spoke after it.
He spoke.
He's a monster. He doesn't believe that anything he did was wrong.
I think Drake Bell got the worst in that HBO documentary. It was HBO, right?
I think it was HBO Max at least.
Whatever they call it now, because they fucking
HBO Max again. Millions of dollars to change the name back.
They spend millions to change clothes.
Amazing. It's amazing how things work.
He was traumatized as a kid.
I feel horrible for him because I remember growing up and when he got in trouble for whatever he had happened in Mexico.
Yeah.
And then he wasn't invited to Josh Peck's wedding.
Yeah.
I felt horrible for him, and now I feel even worse. That poor kid.
But it's also nice because they recently had a podcast together.
Yes, they are reconnecting, which is good.
They are reconnecting.
And good on Josh Peck to be able to recognize where he went wrong in understanding his friend.
Because I think Drake Bell came from a very he didn't have a father figure.
His father was around. He was just from a broken home. His parents were separated.
It was a broken home situation. He got this situation. I'm like, oh, I can make money here. He's away from his family, and that's what happens when a kid.
A little bit of freedom.
Because there's pigs. This world it's an evil world.
You think that Amanda Bynes wasn't touched? She's crazy now. There's a reason why she's out of her mind.
There's a reason why every Disney Nickelodeon star comes out of their what you would say in the Hollywood is coming of age is.
I wonder what happened to Miley.
Yeah,
and now she's normal.
But she
got out of it.
Yes, and it's horrible. It's horrible, especially when you think about the Diddy case.
Yeah, the Diddy case now is going to change the world. It's gonna change the world of industry of
I
entertainment.
I honestly hope it does. I honestly hope it does.
Bieber, I feel terrible for because you know that he's involved, and his agents are coming out and saying, "Oh, he's not involved," and that's horrible because they should just say the truth.
It's almost like, but like the reason why it's like, is Bieber saying that because is he scared?
Yes.
Is he scared what's gonna happen to him? But
Think
like,
about so he's canceled 2 tours.
yeah,
The last 2 tours he's canceled, I think the last one was Purpose.
he had a medical thing with his eye.
Allegedly. But the last 2 tours that he's canceled were on the heels of coming back to New York City.
Mm.
I was supposed to see him at MetLife Stadium, and then all of a sudden he found Jesus and decided he didn't want to tour again.
Okay.
And now he canceled that last tour 2 years ago now?
Yeah.
3 years ago? 3 years ago.
Okay.
And he canceled that on the heels of going to Madison Square Garden.
Mm.
So what's up with New York City?
Yeah.
What's up with New York City? What did Diddy do to you? Or Usher? Or whoever it is?
Freak offs, bro. It's the freak offs.
I feel bad for Cassie Ventura.
Yeah.
Like, you just can't help but feel bad. And I don't know, maybe I'm not like most men,
Yeah.
but I can't watch it. It just bothers me. It bothers me to know that another person, especially a man, could treat a vulnerable person, a
That
woman
video
that
clip
trusts
was
you,
bad.
of her being
You know what's
beaten in the
crazy?
hotel in the hallway.
You know what's crazy? That was a clip. What year did that come out? Because that was many years ago.
Yeah, I don't know when that was because the timeline is weird to me. Because I think she broke up with him, was with
That clip.
Kid Cudi, and then back with him.
You know, it's weird about that because, like, do you remember when that clip of Ray Rice came out? That was like months after the fact.
Yeah, but Ray Rice, again, I don't know the whole story, but if I was fucked up and I was drunk and you hit me, no matter who the fuck you are,
Yeah.
I might punch you.
Yeah. Like, you know, I'm not even saying like the situation of that case. That video came out months after.
Almost immediately.
Why did the P. Diddy video not come out months after? Why is it coming out years after the fact?
How much money does P. Diddy have?
Exactly. P. Diddy has been a producer since the 90s.
Oh,
and he's been making music since, like,
he was
insane.
involved in Barack Obama's 2008 fucking election.
Bro, it's just money
You
talks.
You think he's been to the island?
Money talks.
He's been to the island. That's going to come out in all of this. That probably is why they couldn't release the Jeffrey Epstein files, because it would have fucked up the Diddy case.
It's going to fuck up the downfall of Robert Moses.
We got the Robert Moses.
No, we're not even together. We're not even. It was just like a joke I was going to throw. Yeah, but that shit is even crick. When I went, yeah, we were watching that at a field trip. We were watching the Casey Ventura case. Is she related to the wrestler?
No, she is not related to Jesse Ventura, the former governor of Minnesota.
I had to ask that. I just had to ask that. We were watching it, and I was like, holy shit.
I don't know many
Was she pregnant at the time, too?
I don't think so. She's pregnant now, though.
She's pregnant. Oh, she's pregnant now. But, you're watching that video. It's always by the elevators.
Oh, yeah. The elevators
No,
are
but
bad.
it makes sense, though, because someone is, like,
That was
like, you know, it makes sense, because if vice versa, like, in any situation, if you're in a very hostile situation, the first thing you're going to do is leave the room, and you're on the 15th floor of a hotel, you have
to go down.
You have to go. You're not walking the staircase.
But, like,
you're taking the elevator.
Realistically, you should go down 1 or 2 flights.
Of the stairs?
Call the elevator from like 2 flights down. Diddy's not going down the stairs.
No, but like you can't even do that because the elevator has 2 options, up or down.
Yeah, but
so like that makes sense why all these videos come out. Why someone's at a staircase because they're trying to escape their
100%. I believe.
And that video was bad. That video was.
And that
Diddy should rot in life.
Oh,
with all the equality.
No matter what you think he did or didn't do, that video is enough to tell you he's a piece of shit human being.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%.
Allegedly, that video was taken during a freak-off that she was escaping.
The fact that she said these freak-offs lasted 3 or 4 days.
Up to 72 hours.
And you needed Diddy had doctors on hand giving doctors. They could have been anyone who is able to administer
a shot
or an IV drip is insane.
It just.
But that's how the upper class lives. That's how they live.
And then Diddy wants to preach this life of like, I grew up this way and that way. You're
Who
right.
gives a fuck how you
might
grew
have
up?
grew up that way, but you've lived the last 40 years of your life very wealthy.
Yeah. I grew up 10 years poor, and then I grew up the other 13 years also poor. So shut the fuck up.
Yeah, exactly. Some people have really struggled their entire lives. I'm sure he struggled. I'm sure Diddy had problems when he was growing up, and they are very real. But you cannot not recognize.
That's not an excuse. Not an excuse.
Yeah. Just because you grew up poor, now you rape people every day? No. But I don't know. I don't get it. It doesn't make sense to me. None of it. A lot of society doesn't make sense to me. I don't think I was made for this generation.
So the other day I saw this funny political cartoon. It was so the meme starts out as you see a very popular like resort, and it's like, this is communism. And then like the very popular resort on the side has a slum. Like a slum. Like you I'm not giving a generic location of it, but like imagine it as like a very like South Africa. South Africa.
South African president was at the White House today.
He was. That's very interesting. But we'll go back to that in a bit. But the political cartoon is you have this like massive apartment building,
Mhm.
and it says communism reality, and then right next to it is slums, and it says communism reality.
Yeah, these people that like socialism
And then
don't realize what they like.
It was interesting because then it was like, and then the picture under it was like you have the same the same apartment building is capitalism reality.
I saw this cartoon in Canada. Not Canada, in Japan, rather.
But like I think it is interesting. Like capitalism and communism almost the same in a sense, for the rich benefit.
Oh, 100%. I think the rich benefit more in communism than they do capitalism.
But it's like, but in capitalism, the middle class does slightly better.
Yeah, slightly, but not by much.
Yeah, it's like
Not by
slightly better.
much.
They do slightly better.
Let's see, is it under my legs? Oh, man, I can't find it. Oh, well. I'm on social media too much. But it was this Japanese cartoon about, I don't know, American politics, and it just made sense. Oh, here it is. Look at this. A Japanese newspaper published this comic that explains the U.S. political divide. That's the comic. But look at this. But they're right. Look at the left and the right. The right just wants like small homes, and they want to be able to practice their religion freely. Why should you tell me how I should practice my religion?
Exactly.
As a Catholic, whether I agree with the Catholic Church or not, and I do not agree with the Catholic Church, the Church has a right to practice how they believe fit.
Yeah.
We don't bother Judaism. We don't bother Islam.
They haven't poked the bear in a while.
No.
And that's a good thing. That is a good thing, though. Because we do not... The last thing this society needs...
is a holy war. Especially...
I think they're too smart to know a holy war would never work. It would never work.
Listen.
You're telling me right now, if there was a holy war, you would go in there and fight? No. Exactly. They know.
Like,
people know what war is.
As crazy as it sounds, and this might be a crazy thing to say out loud, but like, Jews and Muslims could fight for the rest of time. The minute that you get Catholics, minute you get Christians involved, you're talking about nuclear war.
I think
Christians are dumb and stupid.
I think the greatest thing about war is the theater version of it. Because the theater version shows...
Oh, it shows warriors and leadership.
No, like, when you even when you watch, like, a World War I film, like, you show the true... Like, this is what war is like.
Oh yeah, like Band of Brothers, great show.
Band of Brothers, The Pacific, but I honestly think the greatest war movie of all time, I even think it surpasses Saving Private Ryan.
I thought that's what you were gonna say. I thought you were gonna say Saving Private Ryan.
It's gonna pass Saving Private Ryan, All Quiet on the Western Front.
I haven't seen it yet.
Because you haven't seen it yet, but you have to watch it because the beginning of the film.
It was required reading my sophomore year of high school.
Yes, it's
Didn't do it.
it's a very big, because I think it does whatever other war movie doesn't do. What it does, it shows
Tells the honest history of war.
the like you're in these fucking trenches, you're beating the mother. So like, I'm about to get into it. So the beginning of the war starts as like the beginning of the movie starts. These guys, it's German perspective. So the movie is in German. You gotta watch it. Like the first time I watched it was English dubbed.
It's on Netflix now, no?
Yes. And the second time I was like, I gotta give it a rewatch in German dub. And that is beyond the story, because you're seeing it, like they're so excited, they're going to war. The second they get to war, it's raining, it's pouring ass and titties, it's pouring cats and dogs.
Like Forrest Gump.
And they're like, yeah, you gotta pour the water out with your fucking helmets. And the next day they're going over the trench fighting a war. And they're fucking the academy guys are getting picked off one by one. And like within 2 weeks he's like, there's like blank face. He's running over the trench, no problem. But the best part about that movie is they talk about the Armistice Day. That is the most brutal part of World War One.
What is that?
So Armistice Day is what we know is November 11th, the
Veterans Day. Which President Trump wants to start doing World War I, World War II Victory Day.
So
as he should. Every other country celebrates winning.
Armistice Day is a very sad day.
Winning the war?
I'll tell you why. So there actually was a war. There was a battle on Armistice Day. All Quiet on the Western Front talks about that battle. They don't talk about that battle. In the book they talk about it, but in the movie they visualize it. They went to war a few hours before the peace was supposed to be.
And we see that happening today. We see just Israel did that this weekend. We think that there's going to be a stoppage of the war, and they just bombed Gaza.
That's why I say I think All Quiet on the Western Front is the greatest movie visually of recollection of war.
All Quiet on the Western Front. I'll make sure to
you have to watch that movie because it shows the real brutality of war. It shows there's no.
Well, that's the thing. That's the thing that's happening now. So, like,
but like when you think
I agree that what's happening in Israel and Gaza and Ukraine and Russia is bad, but we are not meant to watch it. It's now readily available for us to watch everywhere. You could go on Twitter and watch people get blown up.
That's even crazy thing because, like, think about it. Like when in a social media age that wasn't even a thing in the 1960s when the fucking Vietnam was going on, they had. So I remember when I was teaching the Vietnam War to high schoolers, I showed them a CBS clip. Like I was able to, like when you, a lot of videos are, you'd be very surprised about the amount of research you can find on the Library of Congress.
Yeah, of course. There's
you can
a lot of American history is found there.
We have to keep the funding of that. That needs to be kept because the amount of
it's not in jeopardy, is it?
No, it's not. It's not. But the amount of like research you can find on that website is insane. And I remember I found a hyperlink for a CBS broadcast of the Vietnam War, and I showed it to the students so we were teaching the Vietnam War. I was teaching the Vietnam War, and it was a video of Vietnam soldiers, U.S. soldiers, just burning down a village in Vietnam. They're burning it down. And the CBS anchor goes, "Ladies and gentlemen, we are not winning this war."
He was right.
We are not.
It
Because-
wasn't a war.
And I show
It was a civil disagreement.
and I show the kids this, and I go, like, how do you guys feel about this video? Like, how would you react to this video? And as a teacher, I got like, I got all giddy because you have the biggest like one guy's like, oh, they're doing the right thing, they're fighting communism. They're like, this is fucked up. Communism doesn't have a face. How do you like? And I love that because it's like you have like 15, 16, 17-year-old kids like getting adamant. They're like, this is the right thing, this is the wrong thing, and they're like, we should be doing this, we should be doing that. It's like, I love it because the way you have to teach kids in a way that they're excited. They are disagreeing with the other kid across the class.
Exactly. You have to
You
get kids
gotta, like-
talking. You can't just talk at them. You have to get kids part of the conversation. That's how I am. That's how I learned.
My favorite lesson of all time. This is so the USA Today made a website, and the website was, you type your birthday in, would you be drafted into Vietnam?
Oh yeah.
That
I forget if I would have been drafted or not.
And so what I did was, because I love to get the kids moving from like they can't sit in. I am the biggest disbelief in having kids sit for 40 minutes, especially on because they might have had 8 other periods where they're sitting besides
Doing
lunch,
nothing and
doing
listening.
nothing. I love to get these kids moving around. So what I did was put your birthday in. If you were drafted into Vietnam, you stand on one side of the room. If you weren't drafted, you stand on the other side of the room. So the kids, they get up, they put their birthday in their Chromebooks. They put their birthday in their Chromebooks. They get up, go to one side. If you weren't drafted, if you were drafted, go to another side. So now that the class stands up, it's like a nice 50-50. You let the silence set, and I go, you pick one kid out and go, your family has a hedge fund, they're very rich, they get a doctor's note. Go over there. You over here. Your family's very rich. Also go to doctor's note. You're not going to war. So I pick them off one by one.
Like President Trump, who had painful bone spurs
Yes,
in his
yeah,
elbows.
he had heel spurs.
Painful bone spurs.
He had heel spurs, so he didn't go to Vietnam. And I pick them, boom, boom, boom. So then you got 20 kids not going to war. You got 10 kids going to war. And then I prove it, like, see these 10 kids right here? You're never going to see them again. And then it just, that's the start of the lesson. And they're like, oh, shit. I'm ready to go. Like,
Watch on Apple TV, Greatest Beer Run Ever.
I watched that, yeah.
Good movie.
Good movie.
Good movie about
Great
Vietnam.
movie.
About someone who didn't quite understand the impact of Vietnam, and then, I mean,
You gotta admit,
it was very extreme, but he ended up in Vietnam.
in a way, like, high schoolers will never understand Vietnam War.
No.
That is the best way. My lesson is the best way you could ever understand it.
I remember it was Election Day 2012. I was a freshman in high school. Post Hurricane Sandy in New York City, a bunch of kids that were affected by it. And we were a Catholic school, so we went to school on Election Day. And the teacher had us go split up between the people that liked Mitt Romney and the people that liked Barack Obama, and had to argue your point.
Right.
And it was Obama versus Romney. It was Election Day 2012. So my side decided that I was the spokesperson. And that lesson, Miss Latore, specifically, like, it resonates with me because I was involved and she had me involved, and that's really special. And I hope that you can continue to do that with your students. And obviously with this conversation today, I know that you can, and you can continue to guide a conversation.
I was a very when I was teaching, I don't even mean to, like, cut you off, but I was a very, you don't teach for 40 minutes in your seat.
Mm-hmm.
They
No,
can't.
you need to
They
get kids
can't.
involved.
They can't.
And
they can't.
I'm hoping that your generation of teacher does that.
One thing I did, and I loved it. I loved it because it made it, like, accessible to everyone. I was like, so my 9th period class, it was the best. Like, student teaching, it might have sucked because I wasn't getting paid, but I think I had, because it was me actually being a teacher. So, and I loved it because what I would do was 9th period. The kids are worn out. Like, kids might, like, you gotta think, kids are worn out after 9 periods. Do they want to sit through a fucking history lecture? Fuck no. So what I would do was,
Which I never understood how this how Massapequa does schedules out of 2 days. Every other day
They
the same
want
day.
So what I would do
When I went to high school in Brooklyn, it was 1 through 9. Every
Yeah.
period had a chance to be the last period.
Okay, so what I would do was I was like, especially on a Friday, I would whip this card out. Like it was the easiest card out. I was like, so at the end of a lesson, you got to do an exit ticket.
Mhm.
So I was like, if you don't want to do an exit ticket, that's cost like 5 points to 5 points to your grade. Nothing crazy. I go, you can either do 5 jumping jacks or 5 push-ups. I would obviously do the 5 push-ups with the kids that were doing them, and people would do the 5 jumping jacks.
Mm-hmm.
And then, believe it or not, 90% of the kids would do the push-ups or the jumping jacks
Instead of learning.
because like that's a positive learning experience. Because at the end of the day, they're coming to the classroom ready to learn.
Uh-huh.
They go, if I'm ready to learn, it's gonna be fun.
Well, and that's what your generation of teachers can do.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping that the next generation of education is exciting.
Yeah.
Because with the way the computers are, it's not computers. I'm not good on a computer, and I was meant to learn on a computer. I was taught to learn on computers, and I prefer to read paper.
Yeah.
I learn better from paper. I understand things better from paper.
Yeah.
I'm not good with a screen, and that's the way I was meant to
A
learn.
lot of kids are not. I taught very honest. I taught a very screen based, but I also did have a. I think I almost felt like the happy medium. Like I had a screen where you had to write notes, and then on the Pear Deck it was you had to type your question, but it was
And-
almost. Looking back on it now, I think it was too much because writing and then typing, writing it was too much.
Yeah, but there's gonna be a medium, and you'll find it, and
Yeah.
the generation of teacher will find it, and AI is gonna help with that stuff because it'll be able to generate notes and stuff
That
without
scares me,
having to
though.
take. Well, no, it could be good, it could be bad. I think kids are gonna abuse it.
I hate the fact that like kids should be able to write papers and form opinions. If
But
you have
it's a good way
AI,
to find your notes and a good way to learn.
no, it is like you can use it as a tool, but if you're using it to write your papers, that AI could be so opinionated that you're just gonna believe that belief.
Yeah. The AI is a problem because it learns from the internet and it doesn't really know anything.
Exactly.
It's just pulling
Exactly.
information without actually processing it. But that's something that we have to see, and we have to see how it goes. And that's not something we're going to know how it really works for another 20 years.
Yeah.
But Brenden, I really appreciate you coming here, and
Yeah.
I appreciate this conversation, and you're welcome back anytime.
I'll be back. I'll be back.
But this was fun. I hope people enjoy this, and if you liked this, please like and subscribe and continue to give your feedback. Thank you again, and I will talk to you again next week.
Love you guys.
Thank you for coming, Brenden. I really appreciate it.